from Tad Gormley Stadium in New Orleans, Crescent City Sports is proud to bring you Louisiana High School playoff football. Tonight, it is a regional round matchup in Division I Select as the 14th-seeded Acadiana Wrecking Rams travel east to take on the number 3 seed, the St. Augustine Purple Knights. Hi again, everybody. Lenny Van Gilder. Pleased to be joined once again by the coach, Wade Kaiser, and our Crescent City Sports production team. You get to playoff time, Wade, they're all pretty good. But this one on paper looks to be a pretty solid matchup between two teams arguably playing their best football of the year at the right time.
Well, you want to be playing your best football right now. Obviously, the second round, the second round of the playoffs, and one team is a little rested. You know, St. Aug coming off the bye from last week, having earned that particular bye with their schedule and their record, and then Acadiana having to face Karen Crow back-to-back week 10, and then in the bye district last week in the first round, beating those guys 2 times in a row. So, yeah, both teams are playing extremely well right now, and I don't think you can take those seeds. You can take them and throw them out the window because these are two, battle-tested football teams as well as their playoff-tested football teams. Acadiana knows what to do this time of the year when they're in the playoffs. St. Aug the same way.
Yeah. Acadiana comes in at 8-3. They started 0-3, and then they've gone on an 8-game winning streak, including, as you mentioned last week, St. Aug at 9-1, their only loss of the year back in week 5 to the number 1 seed in this bracket, Edna Carr, and since then they ran off 4 consecutive victories. Let's take a look at the bottom of the Division I select bracket and exactly how this stacks up. Again, the goal is obviously, first of all, the road to the Dome. And one team out of this half of the bracket, one of these 8 teams, is going to be playing in the Dome 3 weeks from now, December 13th at 3:30. That's going to be the 8th and final game of the LHSA Prep Classic. You see there at the top there, the St. Aug Acadiana matchup. The winner of this game is going to play the winner of the game going on up in Senla tonight between Archbishop Rummel and Tioga. And then you see the other 2 matchups in the bracket on this side of the bracket. John Curtis and St. Thomas More. You talk about matchups right there.
That's an intriguing one.
Yeah, those 2 guys running those 2 sidelines know a little bit. JT Curtis and Jim Hightower, well over 1,000 combined wins between those 2 guys. And in Turlings Catholic, the number 2 seed, a terrific regular season. They get the 18 seed Bonneville, a team that we saw here on Crescent City Sports. You talk about back-to-back.
Right.
You look what Bonneville had to play Riverdale week 10 and won, came back, won again in the first round of the playoffs to get to this point, much like Acadiana did.
Well, we had the fortunate chance to call that Bonneville Riverdale in week 10 in a great football game, and they had to turn around in the bye district, as you said. Another really good football team. Bonneville's got a good football team.
Well, let's take a look at these 2 teams, Wade, and kind of break it down a little bit. Both of these teams would like to run the football and try to stop the run this evening. Acadiana has run the veer about as long as there's been high school football, I think, out there, right? For 50-plus years as the Wrecking Rams take the field. Doug Dotson is the head coach now in his first year. Of course, his father, Bill, was the head coach at Acadiana for 24 years. And they've got a tradition, unlike a lot of schools in this state, winning 6 state championships, 4 under Ted Davidson, 2 under Matt McCullough. So they have been outstanding for a long, long time. And you've got a relatively new head coach as well on the St. Aug sideline in Robert Valdez, a guy who has been around the game for a long time but is in his second year with the Purple Knights, the former Grambling assistant. He's been a head coach at St. James, at McKinley, at Scotlandville, at West St. John, has been to the Dome, has won a state championship. So he knows how to get it done. And, I've made this point before as we get set for our invocation and our national anthem coming up momentarily. When St. Aug is good in football, high school football in New Orleans is that much better. It reminds me of like when Notre Dame is good in football, college football is better. You've got that passionate fan base, right? When St. Aug is good in football, I think that New Orleans football is better. We are going to pause. We have national anthem coming up from the marching 100 of St. Aug.
In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to begin this football season together. As they step onto the field, we ask for your guidance and protection over each player, coach, and each team member. Help them to play with integrity, courage, and respect for one another, always reflecting your love and grace in our name. May they work hard, support each other, and grow not only as athletes but as men of character who honor you in all we do. Keep them safe from injury and bless their efforts on and off the field. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. St. Augustine, St. Joseph, thank you.
Our national anthem from Tad Gormley Stadium on a warm Friday night. We got a little taste of fall a couple of weeks ago, but we're back to New Orleans type of weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, looking for a little, little briskness in the air, forget about it. It's not going to be here. Maybe next Friday night, I think we've got a chance for it. All right, as we get ready for football, so talking right before the anthem there, Wade, while St. Augustine's got a very talented quarterback in Vashawn Coulon, who has thrown for almost 2,300 yards and 31 touchdowns, I think both of these teams really want to run the football. Certainly, we mentioned Acadiana with the veer, what they want to do. But yeah, St. Aug's still a team that averages over 200 yards a game on the ground. So I think that's going to be really the key matchup. Who can run it, who can stop it this evening?
Well, yeah, no doubt about it, about running the football, the comments that you made there. The difference is St. Aug would like to also be a little balanced. If they can run the football, they will, no doubt about it. But if the run is helping them on the throwing game, especially in the play-action game, Vashawn Coulon definitely can, throw the football. To quote his boss, right, Robert Valdez, he's as smooth as almond milk throwing a football, right? So when you're as smooth as almond milk, that means you can spin it a little bit, and he spun it for over 2,000 yards already this season. Now Acadiana's going to run the football. They want to make the game short. They want to make it as tight as they possibly can into the fourth quarter.
Acadiana won the toss and elected to receive, so we're going to see the Rams on offense first this evening, moving right to left.
And
I
don't blame them either. I think we were talking before the game about toss strategy. If I'm Acadiana, I'm taking that ball, and I want to put together a nice 9-minute drive and come away with some points, whether it's 3 or 6, right? In any way you look at it, they want to shorten this football game, get it into the fourth quarter, have it tight, and take all the air out of the game here tonight, Tad Gormley Stadium.
Now, some missing parts here this evening worth noting. For St. Aug, Raekwon Williams, the talented wide receiver, was injured in their regular season finale against John Curtis. Tore his right ACL, had surgery earlier this week, according to Robert Valdez. Successful surgery. He's a junior, and they are hoping he's going to be ready for opening day next year. And he's a talented guy, number 16 ranked prospect in Louisiana in the class of 2027, has an LSU offer among them. Among his offers, he's still got another guy, one of his wide receiver room teammates in Miguel Whitley, who is still going to be out there and will certainly be a favored target of Coulon this evening. But we'll see them second. We're going to see the Rams on offense first. Now, welcome to our audience this evening on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. And wherever you're watching, it is time for high school football on a Friday night in Louisiana. This kickoff will be bobbled back at the 5-yard line, in big trouble here, and a big defensive stop or special team stop for the Purple Knights inside the 5-yard line, as Colin DeBetta could not cleanly handle that kickoff on a hop. As you'll get another look at it here, Wade just simply dropped the ball and then had nowhere to go because there were a ton of purple helmets and purple jerseys down there to make a play, and now Acadiana is going to start at the 4-yard line. Yeah, well, that's a mistake right off the bat. That's a miscue, huge on the kickoff. You got to handle the football on the kickoff, right? And that is going to put them in a tough situation with their backs against their end zone. And DeBetta, who does a lot for this team, is at quarterback to get things started. They go up the middle on first down. We'll get a couple, and that is Troy Kennerson, the senior running back, who has 814 yards on the season. Gain of 2. Well, you're going to see 3 running backs mostly tonight from the Wrecking Rams, right? You're going to see Kennerson, Simon, and Syrian Joseph. They're going to handle the bulk of the load. They like to also run their quarterback, not just on options, but boots, quarterback counters, quarterback powers, things of that nature. And you might just see dual quarterbacks for the Wrecking Rams tonight also. On 2nd and 8. Off the right side, and not much doing once again as the running back is stuffed for maybe no gain. That was Simon on the carry, who came in with 782 yards rushing on the season. And it is 3rd and 7. They'll give him officially a gain of 1. Yeah, I mean, St. Aug's going to want to make them one-dimensional, right? Keep them in long down and distances if they can, and make them have to throw the football. They're going to put 8-9 guys in the box on 1st and 2nd down for sure. Now it's 3rd down and 9, and they've still got 9 up there, but they will try to throw it. Pass is caught, and room to run. Past the 30, 40, midfield, trying to go the distance. Can he outrun the secondary? 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. 93 yards to Travis Gallion, the senior, who came in averaging 21 yards a catch, Wade. That average just went way up after that one. Well, so did the one-dimensional information that I just gave you, right? They hit the slant off the play action, right? Veer pass, throwback off the slant. They're in man coverage. They run a little out and a little slant off of it. You want to call it a rub route. You want to call it a pick route, whatever you want to call it. It was a great route by Gallion. Ball put on the numbers. He outran everybody, and you do not see that quite often run away from a St. Aug secondary. Yeah, Tyrone Matthew was the one in pursuit but could not get there. Point after try is good. And just a minute and 43 seconds into this one, Wade, it is Acadiana 7 and St. Aug nothing. We expected maybe some big plays. I don't know if we expected them from the Acadiana passing game this soon. Well, as I said, St. Aug is going to load the box with 8 or 9 people. They did again there on 3rd down.
They're in man coverage, zero coverage across the board. There's no one in the middle of the field, no free safety. It's not even cover one, right? So they can get the extra guy down in the box. I love the route by Acadiana. I love the route by Acadiana. It's counter throwback off of the slant, hits them in the numbers. And like I said, you don't see many guys run away from those guys in purple, and he ran away from them.
Galleon's a guy who they want to put the ball in his hands. You talked about the running backs, but Galleon has touched it 22 times this year on offense. 14 catches for 301 yards and 3 touchdowns. 7 rushes for 131 yards. So that gives you an idea just how explosive he is, and he showed it right there.
And he plays in the secondary, too. You're going to see 3 or 4 guys playing both ways for the Wrecking Rams tonight. Galleon is one of them. He will play in their secondary.
And the kickoff is into the end zone for a touchback, so we'll get our first look at the Purple Knight offense from the 20-yard line with Vashawn Coulon leading the way. The 5'10", 145-pound senior, don't let that fool you. He plays a lot bigger than that. A 67% passer on the year, 2,282 yards passing, 31 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's also rushed for 350 yards and 8 touchdowns. So he has accounted for 39 touchdowns in 10 games this year.
Yeah, and he accounted for 4 of them 2 weeks ago in Week 10 against John Curtis. When 215 yards of offense.
Right. St. Aug hung 55 on Curtis 2 weeks ago tonight. No one has ever done that to a J.T. Curtis coach team. Looked like there was movement up front. The Acadiana coaches were as well. Off the right side, that's Khalil Lewis, the sophomore running back. One of the things that you notice as we prepared for this game, Wade, there's a lot of young guys on this team. There's not a whole lot of seniors on this St. Aug offensive lineup in particular. And Lewis off the right side will get 6 at 2nd and 4.
Yeah, well, going into the season, Robert Valdez said that was one of the things that he had to get better at fast, was getting his young offensive linemen aged real quickly.
Coulon faked the pass and then tucked it and ran. First down, Purple Knights. It looks like they'll mark him down at the 32-yard line, a gain of 6.
Coulon just pumps it out there, and then what does he do? It's quarterback draw, right? I don't know. I think that was almost ad-lib. He looked up and he saw that his screen was covered well out there by the white jerseys of Acadiana. He just put that ball down and was looking for some room to run. He picks up the first down. That's an athletic play by Coulon.
Bring the tight end Kamari Navarre in motion. Put him in the slot to the left side. Coulon will roll that way on first down. Let it fire and see if they call it a catch right at the sideline. It is incomplete, second down.
A little bit wide. Intended receiver, I think, was Miles Pannell out there on the out route at the sticks, and the ball's a little bit high and wide, and he just couldn't come down with the ball.
It was 15. It was Zion Williams.
Zion Williams
was the intended receiver. Second and 10. And I believe we've got whistles before this one can get underway. It's a false start against the Purple Knights. Again, it's a Baton Rouge Association crew. It's always a neutral crew in the playoffs. Just the higher seed gets to be home, but the officials do not come from the home site.
Yeah, well, they're chosen by the LHSAA to be able for that reason, right? It used to be the head coaches used to have to call during the week and agree upon an officials association, and it got a little too hectic.
What's interesting, though, you would think if you have 2 teams from the same area that they would just use officials from that area, and they don't do that. 2nd and 15. Play action. Coulon in trouble. Ball is out, and I believe Acadiana may have come up with the football. It looked like Ty Thomas is at the bottom of that pile, 24. Isaiah Lavallee may have gotten the strip. We'll take another look at it as they sort through the pile.
Isaiah Lavallee steps up and then decides to delay blitz right there. He's the guy that applies the pressure as the ball comes out on the ground. And you're right. I think it was number 24, Ty Thomas, that comes up with that ball down there. But they say Coulon was down.
I think that call, let's see here.
Did they give it?
No, it's Acadiana football.
Oh, there we go. So, all right, Acadiana comes up with the ball. Ty Thomas comes up with the turnover, puts Acadiana in great field position.
With 9:28 to play here in the first quarter, suddenly Acadiana knocking at the door already at the St. Aug 24-yard line with a chance to turn this into a 2-score game. Give it away on first down, a couple of yards, and that was Simon on the carry.
Simon on the carry, tackled by Darren Coates. Coming right down the line of scrimmage, right there. Takes the first threat on the veer. Nicely done by that young man.
Coach, 20 tackles, a team leading 8.5 sacks on the year. So he was a threat and had I believe a strip sack and a return for a touchdown against John Curtis.
Well, he had he did. He had a pick 6 also in Week 10 against John Curtis.
2nd and 8 at the 22. Flag comes in from the secondary. I don't know if they blew this one dead or not. Run to about the 20-yard line, but this may have been blown dead before we got started here. And the St. Aug defense is pointing in the direction of Acadiana. Indeed, it is a false start, so it will be no play, and they'll put it back at the 26-yard line. Let's see, maybe they're moving it now. Yeah, they'll put it at the 27-yard line. Okay, that's 5 yards. 2nd down and 13 now. So if you're Acadiana, a team that typically does not want to throw the football, you don't want to have to play from behind the sticks like they are now on 2nd and 13. Well, option to the right side, and nicely defended that time by the Purple Knights. That was the middle linebacker, Jai Dillon, who came in with 49 tackles, the junior, making that stop, a gain of 3.
Well, that's lead option. They just didn't get the block out there on Sire Gilmore either. And when you run lead option, you've got to block the guy that has the pitch, right? And the lead back did not get the block, which allowed the defensive back to come off and make a nice tackle.
Like Simo might have been favoring something as he came off the field. Keep an eye on that situation as it's 3rd and 10 at the 24-yard line. Running up the gut and not much there. Gain of a couple. So it's 4th down and 8, and it's going to be decision time early here for Doug Dotson. This is really 22-yard line is kind of no man's land, as that was Syrian Joseph who entered the game just a moment ago on the carry. 4th and 8.
Yeah, a little bit out of the distance of Josh Marquez, their kicker. Last week he kicked a 42-yard field goal and had a little bit to spare with it, right? So I can understand this is just slightly outside his range.
And look, and again, while they are a team that is going to run the ball a lot, may have played into the play call there on 3rd and 10, knowing you were going to go here on 4th down. They will throw it on 4th down. Pass is caught. 1st and goal, and it's once again Gallion on the catch. Gain of 14 to the 8.
Wow, 6'2", 200-pound. He's a big receiver. Watch him go up and get this football right there, rip it out of a defender's hands. He takes it right out of Tyrone Matthews' hands. That sounds familiar for the Purple Knights, right? A huge first down to keep the drive alive for the Wrecking Rams.
From the 8. Get it on the run up the middle inside the 5 to about the 4-yard line.
Look, they have to get movement up front. They did right there with a little apex blocking on a zero dive, right? You got movement on the 2 A-gap players for the Purple Knights right there. And when you can knock those guys off the ball, and that's some players in there for the Purple Knights, you're going to pick up 4 or 5 yards. Remember, 3.5, 3 first down, right? That's what they want to be able to do to take the air out.
Remember it, too. It is 1st and goal at the 8-yard line, so you only need to get 8 to get in the end zone. So 2nd and goal at the 4. Quarterback keeps it into the end zone. Touchdown, Colin DeBetta. And just like that, Acadiana has jumped out to a 13-0 lead midway through the first quarter.
He pulls the ball off the inside veer. There's nobody there for the quarterback. They run off the man coverage. There's nobody on the pitch.
There's nobody on the pitch.
He the ball. He walks in. Nobody there. When you play assignment football, that means you have somebody for the first threat to dive, the quarterback, and the pitch, which is assignment football for triple option. St. Aug had no one for the quarterback nor the pitch.
6 plays, 24 yards on the drive after the fumble, and the point after makes it a 14-0 game with 5:59 to play here in the first quarter. Tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner. Lamarck Quick Lane services all makes and models, batteries, tires, oil changes, and more. All done quickly while Wade enjoys some popcorn. Must be a reason.
Hey, best popcorn in Kenner. There you go. I mean,
I'm overdue to go get that oil change and get some popcorn.
There you go. You know, one of the things that has been St. Augustine's Achilles heel all year is tragically slow starts, right? Giving up 7 points, giving up 14 points against some of the opponents that they've played in the Catholic League, and then come storming back in the second half. They did that 2 weeks ago against John Curtis. John Curtis jumped out on top, and then all of a sudden, as Robert Valdez said, we woke up and came to life, right? So we have seen this before, and I'm sure Acadiana, looking at all the film and looking at everything they did in their preparation for this football game, has seen that St. Aug can come storming back with the athletic talent that they have.
No doubt. So here comes the kickoff from Marquez. Last one went through the end zone. This one won't get that far. It'll be taken in at about the 7-yard line. Return out to the 20, 25, still on his feet, 30. Room to run, 40. Midfield. Can he get to the edge? 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. Did he get in or step out? Touchdown. 93 yards for Derek Bennett, the junior. That is a way to change momentum.
Did I say something about they can be electric when they turn their switch on? And one of the ways you can turn your switch on is you do a great job blocking on your special teams. They did a nice job to be able to spring Derek Bennett, and then he breaks it back against the grain and then runs away from everybody in a white jersey.
So they'll line up with the swinging gate here. You make the opponent have to defend that. And now they will shift back into formation to try the extra point. And that is, I believe, Darren Coates is going to kick it. But first we've got a whistle and flags. It's offside against Acadiana. So now the ball goes to the 1.5-yard line. And we see this in the NFL when you get these kind of penalties. Do you think about sending the offense out now and going for 2 when you're now at the 1.5-yard line?
Well, you can decline this also.
You can. You certainly, but again, it's not, you're straight on. Right. You're not dealing with an angle.
Right. If you're going to kick the football for a kicker, getting them off of their line like that sometimes messes with their heads a little bit, right?
Right.
So, and then some guys it doesn't. It just all depends on what you're dealing with your kid when you make that decision. And here we go. We got another
flag. Another flag.
Another offsides.
Let's see. And it is. Now you're inside the 1-yard line.
You nudge a little bit forward. So do you just bring your offense out and push it, or what do you do?
Well, exactly. You're at the 1. That's the thing. Now do you think differently?
Yeah, I mean.
Well, they're going to kick it from right here, inside the 1-yard line. And the kick is good by Coates. And your new score with 5:43 to play in the first quarter, it is Acadiana 14 and St. Augustine 7. Well, we've had a pair of 93-yard touchdowns in the first 6 minutes and 17 seconds of this game. One by the pass, one on a kickoff return.
Right, explosive plays, right? I mean, both of these teams can create explosive plays, whether offensively, on special teams, or, of course, athletically, defensively, right? Because they have athletes spread all over the field. I mean, they've got some great Division I athletes and Division I athletes to be out there. Some of these sophomores St. Aug are just stupendous, right? And they're going to end up being recruited by D1 schools and further their careers at that level, right?
No doubt.
The explosiveness of both of these football teams is huge. Let's remember the last time there was a kickoff return by Acadiana, the ball was bobbled down inside the 5,
the
right?
first time. Yeah,
So
that's true. No, it was the opening kickoff of the game. It's the last time
right.
St. Aug kicked to Acadiana.
So,
you're right.
So if all the butterflies should be out by now,
Sure.
right?
You would think so.
Let's catch the football and get it up the field.
Deepest of the deep in the Acadiana formation, back at the 5-yard line. They will take it on a hop once again, and it is again bobbled into the end zone, and it's a touchback. Because again, that's a muff, and if it goes back into the end zone, that is a touchback.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
it's
not a fumble. Yeah, that's twice now. Yeah, and I can hear the St. Aug coaches were confused as to why the whistle was blown, but no, that is the right call. A muff into the end zone is a touchback.
Well,
famously remember that situation in a state championship game with John Curtis and Catholic High when Catholic muffed a punt. It went back into the end zone. Curtis had recovered it for a touchdown, but as soon as the ball crosses the goal line, it's dead, and it's now a touchback.
Correct. And that's Colin DeBetta having a problem back there on the kickoffs, the guy that just scored the touchdown on the veer, right?
Yeah.
And his butterfly should be gone by now.
You would think so. DeBetta will make the pitch here, and there are 3 Purple Knights waiting at the line of scrimmage to take down the pitchback. That was Troy Kennerson. No gain. It is 2nd and 10.
Well, they got that straight. They have the quarterback taken care of right there by Jai Dillon, and you can see the pursuit coming from the free safety from the middle of the field. They changed their coverage to a little bit of a zone right there to be able to get the free safety downhill into the alley to take care of the pitchback, which you said was Joseph.
So 2nd down. Call it officially 9. It's going to be a gain of 1 on the play. 2nd and 9 at the 21. And once again, not a lot doing there. Gain of maybe 2 or 3, and it's going to be 3rd down. And we'll call it 6.
This is where they've done their damage. They've done their damage on 3rd down, right? You would think it would be 3rd and mediums. No, it's been 3rd and long that they have been really successful with. So, again, look for Gallion on some sort of slant route again or some 50-50 ball, right?
Find a way to get the ball in Zero's hands. He has been the true playmaker. He lines up. Does he see at the top of the screen, perhaps? Yeah. 3rd and 6. They'll run the option. Or the quarterback's going to keep it. He's got nowhere to run. The St. Aug pursuit will run him out of bounds for a big loss there. That just never developed that time for Acadiana. Terrific pursuit that time by the Purple Knight defense. This was just a quarterback run all the way, it looked like, Wade.
Yeah, quarterback sweep. 2 backs out in front trying to get DeBetta out there on the edge. But look at the pursuit of everybody in a purple jersey, right?
Sire Gilmore, the senior, really kind of helped blow that play up. 12 tackles for loss on the year. Not going to get one there as but just kind of dragged that play out. And we'll get some credit for it, I'm sure, when it comes to the film study. So on 4th and 10, we're going to see our first punt of the evening. And this is not a good kick, and St. Aug's going to have terrific field position here at the 38-yard line of Acadiana. So tables turning just a bit after it was a 14-0 start for Acadiana. It's an 18-yard punt that's going to put the football on the plus side of the 50 at the 38-yard line for Vashon Coulon and the Purple Knight offense.
Yeah, that's a dangerous situation when you're giving this offense the ball, this deep in your territory, right? But special teams here showing its head tonight, right? Not only for Acadiana, but for, of course, St. Aug.
Give it away on 1st down and room to run up the middle to about the 31-yard line. That was Khalil Lewis.
Yeah, Khalil Lewis, only a sophomore, right?
Right.
656 yards on the year, 7 touchdowns. He's 5'8", 165. He gets in there, and he's got a crease, and he, when he gets a crease, he's quickly at the 3rd level, and that's what happened there.
Coulon rolling. Now the throwback pass. He's got the tight end open, and it's a 1st down, but give Acadiana credit for staying at home. That was one of those plays. It could have been a lot more. It's Kamari Navarre, I believe, is at 88, yes. Navarre, just his 5th catch of the year, the sophomore tight end on the throwback screen. That's one of those that could have, if you're flowing to the ball, could be a lot more. Navarre fakes his block, Wade, and he is out there by himself. But look at the.
Well, he's got the Academy Award of the night, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here you go. He falls down, puts both hands on the ground, gets back up, and slips out. Acadiana stays home. Nicely done by that Rick and Ram defense.
So first down and 10. That's the first down of the night for St. Augustine. Second first down of the night. Ball at the 23-yard line. Up the gut for about 2.5, 3 yards. That is Lewis on the carry.
Look, that's a stout Acadiana front, right? Even without Darius McKinley, the LSU commit, the senior, that is out tonight with a concussion, correct? So, but those guys that they have in there, those cats can play a little bit. Dante Chavez, right, number 44, Christian Davis, Jackson Hiltz. Some of these guys are battle-tested in that tough 5A district over in the Lafayette area.
Again, Acadiana went 7-0 through that district after an 0-3 start. Got the man open in a flat. 15, 10, still on his feet. 5, touchdown, St. August. Zion Williams, the senior. 21 yards for the touchdown, and St. August an extra point away from tying this football game.
Well, he's left wide open. Nobody out there. They're in man coverage. Look like they're with zone on top of the man. Somebody didn't take the back out of the backfield. They had Zion Williams lined up in the backfield, and he just slips right out, and they dump the ball. And you can see the result. I mean, nicely done. When you play even man under with zone across the top, you got to account for the zero back out of the backfield, and that was not accounted for, and you can see the touchdown becomes a result right there.
So, Coach, on to tie the football game. Kick is good, and your new score with 2:27 to play here in the first quarter. It's Acadiana 14 and St. Augustine 14. Well, we thought we had a chance to see some points scored. Right. We're seeing it right now.
Well, they took a punch in the nose, right? And I just said a few minutes ago that, this has kind of been their MO all year. Get punched in the nose, get knocked around for about half of a round, right? And then all of a sudden get your wind and figure it out. And, it looks like St. Aug has gotten their wind and figured it out with the kickoff return in short field after a defensive stand and poked it in on the flat route out there to Zion Williams, right? Yeah. So nicely done by St. Aug. The answer is, what is Acadiana going to do to put together some sort of drive, which is what they do? They just take the air out of the clock. Right. They need to move the ball and not go 3 and out.
Right. Their big plays at this point have come in the pass game. They've
Correct.
got
Correct.
That's otherwise on the ground. They don't have a run longer than 4 yards tonight. Now, I know you like to talk about the Novocaine philosophy when it comes to the veer or any kind of option game. Is the kickoff is much shorter this time and take it by the up back. That was Tyler Martina, name we call for the first time tonight.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right about the Novocaine effect with veer and power football, right? You just keep pounding it and pounding it and pounding it until somebody makes a mistake, whether they don't take the right person on the option or somebody is in gap sound, something happens, and then all of a sudden you pop one. They got 3 backs that can go, right?
Yeah, really, the mistakes that we've seen this evening from St. Aug defensively have come on the 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the long pass and the 4-yard touchdown run. Nothing doing there on first down. That was well defended once again by the Purple Knight defensive line, as Kennerson will get maybe a half yard.
Acadiana's not going to get away from what they do, right? They're going to establish the run, and still keep trying to establish the line of scrimmage. That's their MO. That's in their DNA, right? I mean, it's just what they do.
They have run it 10 times. Yeah. The longest run tonight is 4 yards. And obviously, if you get 3 and 4, obviously you keep moving the sticks, but they're, maybe half a yard there on first down. Not a lot doing. Again, the St. Aug defensive line has been very stout to date.
Yeah, well, that time it was the linebacker, Chad Jones, that was creeped right up to the line of scrimmage right there, and he makes a pop, 5'11", 225, if that name sounds familiar. LSU great Chad Jones is his dad, and I think he's following in his footsteps, right? Mm-hmm. Leading tackler on this football team, the St. Aug Purple Knights, 77 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 interception on the season. So
now 3rd and 8 at the 32-yard line. Got to get it to the 40. See the sticks on the far side of your screen there, and before this can get underway, it's timeout Acadiana. Or wait, check that. We got it. Well, timeout or flag? Let's see.
I think it was a timeout Acadiana.
Timeout. So Acadiana uses their first here with 56 seconds to play in the first quarter. Of course, we remind you, stay up to date with all of the scores this evening on our All-State Sugar Bowl scoreboard at CrescentCitySports.com. We talked about Acadiana's history and their great tradition here. You know, you go back and look at just this, since 2000. Look at the state championships. John Curtis, Evangel, and then you got a 4-way tie for the 3rd most state championships in Louisiana. And that's a pretty good company Acadiana's in there with. Endicott, Lutcher, Ouachita Christian, and then you go down to the 5s with Parkview Baptist and St. Thomas More. The team at the top of the list, the team at the bottom of the list right there, by the way, are playing across town tonight at the Shrine on Airline. And the 2 guys leading those 2 teams, J.T. Curtis and Jim Hightower, have won their share of games. By the way, if you check it out on the All-State Sugar Bowl scoreboard, first quarter, John Curtis up 21-0 on STM.
Ew.
Wow. Quite the start. STM and Acadiana, by the way, played in Week 3. STM won that game 39-35.
Yeah, they know how to score points there in South Lafayette area.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so here comes the screen pass on 3rd and 8. Tried to get it in the hands of Gallion, who's been their best playmaker to date, but DeBetta just let him a little bit too far that time, and now it's going to be 4th down, and the punting unit will have to come on. Another look here.
People don't realize how hard this throw is. It can't be too high. It can't be behind you. Can't be at your feet like that ball was. It's got to be within about a 4-inch, 6-inch target, chest high, where you could put your hands on the ball and run with the defensive back.
And you're trying to hit a guy on the move. Yeah,
on the move. And that is a tough pass at all levels.
Much better punt here, second time around. St. Aug return man will get away from it. They'll get a little bit of an Acadiana roll to the 32-yard line, so the punt goes 36 yards. I know you wanted to field it, but I don't think there was any chance of him getting to that one. That was basically a low-line drive.
Yeah, that inconsistency on the distances from the punter puts inconsistencies in the mind of the returner, right? And you try to, as a coach, line them up and do all the you break down every punt that they do all year long to get a average of where they're punting the ball, and you watch them in pregame. Sometimes that just doesn't add up.
Doesn't happen.
You got to make sure your guy can make a good decision, meaning your returner.
All right, so St. Aug team was down 14-0 not that long ago. It's a tie game, and now they've got the football once again with 41 seconds to play in the first quarter. Best run defense of the night we've seen from Acadiana as Gavin Coleman, the leading tackler on this team, stops Khalil Lewis for maybe a gain of a yard.
Yeah, Gavin Coleman's a good football player. 92 tackles, 1.5 sacks, right? He's a senior. He's 5'10", 185 pounds. He steps right off the edge, makes a nice play, holds up the running back, and a whole host of white jerseys meet him.
2nd and 9, what might be the last play of the quarter. Coulon's going to run the bubble screen here and get it out to about the 38-yard line. Once again, that's Zion Williams on the catch. Called his name a bunch tonight. The senior wide receiver is kind of getting a shot for some more time with the injury to Raekwon Williams, and he has been a factor here early on. It will be 3rd down and 4 when we resume play, as we have reached the end of the first quarter.
And you see those tunnel screens right there? You see the wide receivers blocked. You got inside linemen getting out there to try to get a kick out and create a tunnel for the receiver to come back underneath, catch the football, and then get vertical. The key block is by the play side tackle, Lenny. That play side tackle has got to get out there, number one, on time, and number two, he's got to get a target on a defensive back that is flying up from his secondary position without hitting him in the back, and just be able to shield him off so the receiver can get around him. That time it just didn't quite work out for the Purple Knights.
So through one quarter of play, it has been entertaining to say the least. Acadiana 14, St. Augustine 14. Our second quarter comes up next on Crescent City Sports. Tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports brought to you by Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute, a regional leader in orthopedic and sports medicine innovation and treatment, caring for both our active community and the Saints. To learn more, visit ochsner.org/sportsmed. Long live you. Long live the Saints. Saints back in the Dome on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons, trying to get a real winning streak. One of these teams trying to extend their winning streak and play next week. Pass in the right flat is caught for the first down, and that is or is that Noble 18, or was that Bennett 12?
I think that was Jael Noble coming from a halfback position, getting out there into the flat. You can see him right there.
Yep, that is 18.
Run
right.
his flat route. Well covered that time by J.L. Marbrule. He jumps the flat route to not have a repeat of what happened on the touchdown.
Right. So a gain of 6. They'll give it away on first down, and I believe that was Lewis picking up 4 on the carry. Or check that. That was Noble. Noble's still in the game. So we're seeing a little bit of Noble here. The sophomore running back, big guy, 6'3", 170 pounds.
Yeah.
254 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns this year.
You call onto a theme, sophomore.
Noble again. And there's some depth. That's the thing. They can wear you down. They're getting a fresh set of legs that's coming in there.
And they're all young guys, right? I mean, it's amazing. St. Aug has, its resurgence is really nice. They've they had the fire in the gym. They've redone their athletic facilities. Got the great practice field now. A lot of excitement going on over there at the Purple Knight campus and around the area in the neighborhood.
No doubt about it. And certainly the hiring of Robert Valdez a couple of years ago hasn't hurt things at all either. On 3rd and 4, pass, right flat, caught, first down. Still on his feet. He may go the distance. Zion Williams once again, 50 yards for the touchdown.
Is he having a night, right?
Have a night, Zion Williams. Holy cow. 50 yards for his second touchdown.
Midway through the season, he's a backup. Now he's a starter, and what a night is he having, right?
Breaks that tackle. How about that?
Taking advantage of every opportunity that he's getting, and he breaks the tackle, as you said, right there. And nobody can catch him down the boundary for another St. Augustine score. Wow.
And the Purple Knights lead for the first time tonight. 20 unanswered for St. Aug with this point after coming. Kick. Kick is good. 21-14 now. 21 unanswered for the Purple Knights, and in a big hurry, Wade. That's this is a collective answer here for these last 8 minutes after you fall behind by 2 scores. But like you said, this is a team that has trailed before. Yeah. Certainly no panic from Robert Valdez and his team.
No, and look, if there was some sort of elixir or potion or spell or whatever you want to be able to do to sprinkle on your players, right? To be able to start fast and finish fast. If you could bottle that, you'd make a ton of money, right?
But these are kids, and don't forget this either.
Yeah,
this is a team that had the week off last week. Yeah, buys are great. You get a chance to get healthy. You get rested, things like that. But at the same time, sometimes you could come out a little rusty.
No doubt. And if you could bottle the elixir, let me know, because I would buy some and try to sell it on a secondary market.
No doubt. No doubt about it. All right, on the return that time, that was J.L. Malbrew, takes it out past the 30. Looks like they'll put it to the 34-yard line. Interesting, the last couple of kicks, I don't know if that's by design or otherwise, have been a little bit shorter. They'll spot it at the 33 officially. So Acadiana really needs to, first things first, get a first down here. They were rolling there. Obviously, they popped the big play in the first series, got the turnover, went in and converted that into points. But now they've got to try to sustain something right here. This is, doing perhaps what they do best. Pass out on the flat and room to run down the sideline. And guess who? The biggest playmaker of the night for Acadiana. It's Travis Gallion, and he's got it out past midfield for a first down.
Whether throwing the guy the ball.
This might have been a lateral, actually.
Right.
Yeah, I think it is. A gain of 18 on the play.
Or handing the ball off to him. Any way you look at it, I would get it into Zero's hands because that cat can play.
So from the St. Aug 49, that's the thing with making that play on the perimeter there. You open things up in the middle as Syrian Joseph on the carry gets 3.
Well, what it will do is by formation, it might move somebody out of the box. So I think in order to loosen up the 8- and 9-man box, you got to play with your formations a little bit. I talked to J.T. Curtis about this for years about, 2 backs in the backfield running the veer. How do you loosen up your box? He says you do it by formation, and that means you put 2 receivers on one side, use the wide. So look at this. You see how they change in that? And now somebody moves out of the box right there, and it kind of loosens the box up on the defense.
Yeah, running up the middle that time. They'll get about 3 there as once again it's Joseph on the carry to about the 43-yard line. So, well, you talked about it. If you can get 3, you can get 3, or 2.5, every time.
You just keep pounding it. But I think you need to start moving your formations around a little bit, as they did right there, and that's going to loosen up that box a little bit.
Gallion will check back in the game as they old school kind of send the plays in via messenger. We don't have you don't see the fancy cards with all of the logos and stuff on the sideline. They just send a play in. They go back up the gut again, and they got room to run this time. Best running play of the night right there, and that was Kennerson on the carry for a first down to the 36-yard line.
Watch how fast Kennerson hits the hard dive there on the inside veer. All he needed was a little bit of a crease. He hits it downhill right there, and he picks up the first down.
So this is really what Acadiana needed. You just, on the ground, move the chains a couple of times, get something positive going here. Now they'll pass on first down. Pass in the direction of Gallion, incomplete. Couldn't bring it in.
Yeah, a little wide. Just could not get all the way outside. He stopped at the hitch route at 6 yards, and the ball was off target. You can see it kind of floats away from him.
Yeah, a little bit. Tried to get him turning upfield. There were 2 defenders out there, like Hill and Gilmore, 2 and 23, both out there in coverage for St. Augustine. And certainly you need to be paying attention to wherever 0 is on the football field from what we've seen early on. At the 36, second down 10. That quick dive once again will get about 3.5 yards, as that was 8 Simon or 9 Joseph on the carry. That is Joseph, number 9, the bigger guy. Size will tip him off. He's 6'1", as opposed to those other running backs a little bit smaller.
Yeah, I saw him on the field pregame. I think he's bigger than 195 pounds. The guy's a horse, right? He looks 205 or so, but he is a big, big back. Whereas the other 2 backs, Simon and Kennerson, a little bit are slighter built.
All right, 3rd down and 7. The line to make is the 26-yard line. Pass this way, incomplete. St. Aug's pass rush really just blew that play up. They were trying to develop something slow with a screen, perhaps. Joseph couldn't even get out in the route. He just kind of faked it. You see all the defenders out there. They were trying to get it once again to Gallion, but
yeah, they were going to throw it backside. It was covered well by the Purple Knights.
So it's 4th and 7, and at the 33-yard line, this is certainly 4-down territory for the Wrecking Rams, trailing by 7. St. Aug moves up front. Now 4th and 7 just turned into 4th and 2.
Yeah, those numbers get a little bit better.
And now there's some different things in the playbook. They come into play on 4th and 2 as opposed to 4th and 7. And that's
right.
Look, if you're St. Aug, the best thing that you can do is force Acadiana into a situation where they have to pass the football. And if you're giving them, you're putting them at a down and distance where it can go either way, that's obviously advantage to the team in the gold helmets and the white jerseys.
Yeah, you don't like the 2-yard look, right? I mean, even though they've had their explosive plays off of throwing the football, you're still trying to make them one-dimensional because you don't want them to get into the rhythm running the football if you're St. Augustine.
They'll roll the quarterback this time, pass it downfield in the direction of La Martina, incomplete, and it was nicely covered that time by the reserve cornerback, Peyton Thomas, who's got 4 pass breakups on the year and did a nice job here.
Kind of confused, Lenny. Your MO all year long has been able to pick up 2 yards, right? I'm not second-guessing anything. I just would have loved to seen Acadiana hand it off to one of their backs and pick up those 2 yards right there. That's kind of puzzling to me. But the Purple Augs, the Purple Knights hold, and they're going to take the ball over at the 28-yard line.
So St. Aug takes over here with the lead in the ball for the first time tonight. 2 receivers, bottom of the screen, plus a man in the slot. They will give it away, and some nice running room for their starter at running back, who's back in there, Khalil Lewis. Gets the first down out to the 49-yard line, a gain of 21.
Yeah, he tiptoes the out-of-bounds line. Watch how he tight-ropes this. It's counter. He bounces it outside. Everything's stacked up inside by Acadiana. Nice move right there. What's the tip right down the boundary there.
Gained about another 10 yards doing that. And they go quickly here on 1st and 10. We'll get about another 5, as that was once again Lewis, and they're going a little tempo here as they cross the 50 to the 46-yard line of Acadiana. On 2nd and 5. Room to run, first down and then some. Up the middle for Lewis to the 36-yard line, a gain of 10.
He sets that up with a little jump cut. He looks like he's going to go outside, right off the tackle's tail, right off the inside zone. He jump cuts it back to the inside at the last second. Something he saw out of the corner of his eye, and he hit it in the A-gap.
Coulon passes high and incomplete in the direction of Derek Bennett.
Yeah, Derek Bennett was the intended receiver over there, and the ball would just sail out of bounds. I think Coulon threw that away. Great coverage by Acadiana that time on Bennett.
So 2nd and 10 now at the 37 as we close in on the midway point of the second quarter. And really, since the midway point of the first quarter, this has been all Purple Knights. Acadiana led it 14-0 with 5:59 to play in the first quarter. St. Aug returned the ensuing kickoff for a touchdown, and they've been the dominant team ever since. Once again, some nice room up the middle, and that offensive line is doing a great job opening holes for the St. Aug running backs. That was Cohan Davis that time, the freshman getting his first run of the night out to the 23-yard line, a gain of 14.
Freshman. They just keep bringing it at you.
Once again, it's Davis trying to bounce it outside. Well defended by Acadiana. He steps out. They will mark him out at the 20-yard line, a gain of 3.
He's got a little shake with him, right? He can give you the dead leg and then just get out of it and just keep bouncing to the outside. They're running the counter into the short side of the field where Acadiana has one less defender, right? They're by going twins to the wide side of the field, they're declaring the wide side of the field the strength. They're running the ball back to the short side of the field with one less defender.
At the 20, play action, pass caught, tight end. Gets it out to about the 14-yard line. That was once again Kamari Navar. And this is going to be 3rd down and about a yard and a half here for first down.
They shift the tight end, Kamari Navarre, to the short side, and then they bring him back against the grain and dump him the ball. Great tackle by Keon Ledette.
Running up the middle, and it's going to be first and goal, Purple Knights. They are just establishing their will right now. That was
having their way.
Davis on the carry.
That offensive line of St. Aug right now is having their way with the Acadiana defensive line, especially the two guards in the center of the Purple Knights.
First and goal at the 8-yard line after the gain of 6. Once again, the freshman on the carry, still on his feet into the end zone. Touchdown, Koa Davis. His 8th touchdown of the year. All defenses in the Catholic League have to look at that young man for the next 3 years.
Well, did you see the two guards in the center, Minville, Strickland, Shields for the Purple Knights, manhandle the two defensive down techniques of Acadiana. They got them knocked off the ball, one of them on their back, which allowed the freshman Davis to walk into the end zone.
9 plays, 72 yards, took just 2:17 off the clock, and that gives you an idea, shows you a little bit of the tempo that St. Aug went with on that drive. Point after is good, and your new score with 4:54 to play here in the first half. It is St. Augustine 28 and Acadiana 14.
Well, when they wake up, right? I mean, and then they explode.
That was quite, this has been quite the extended answer now. We're talking 28 points in the span of about 13 minutes of football.
Yeah, but they've done this all year. I mean, they've done it against everybody, not in the Catholic League, but also in their non-district schedule, right? I mean, you know, they come in scoring 45.6 points a game. They open up the season with MAC 35 East St. John by putting 56 up on those guys, and then they play the Legacy School of Sports Science. We called their game with St. Charles earlier in the year.
Right.
They put 68 on those guys, right? Remember the talent that they had on that field?
No doubt.
So, again, once they get the steam engine rolling, they're hard to stop.
This is kind of a line drive, low kick. It's fielded at about the 27-yard line and brought out past the 35 to about the 37-yard line. So best field position of the night for the Wrecking Rams.
They need to get something on the board on this drive. Take the 4:48 out of the half. Go in with a positive, point scoring at the end of the halftime, so that way they come out only 7 points down.
Yeah, and remember this. St. Augustine gets the ball to start the third quarter, so that makes it all the more important to try to get some sort of answer here before halftime.
Yeah. Key is you can't give the ball back to the Purple Knights. That's the key.
Remember, stay with us at halftime. Ken Trahan and I will break down the brackets. We'll catch you up on all the scores as well. Pass is incomplete and nearly intercepted that time. That might have been 26, Peyton Thomas?
I think that was Peyton Thomas, yeah. Nice play on the slant route. We'd seen the pass before. Off the counter, slant backside. Nicely done. He gets his hand in there and rakes it.
Yep, tried to go in the direction of Gallion. Called his name a bunch tonight. Of course, the first series of the game, he went 93 yards. Took the slant all the way to the house. That looked like a busted play right there. One guy went one way, two went another way. And it's another tackle for loss for Darren Coates.
Darren Coates, look, not only a really good football player, but an outstanding baseball player. And I'd be amiss to say his mom is one of the best third-grade teachers in Jefferson Parish. I had the pleasure of teaching with her at Rupel for a number of years, and she does a great job at Rupel Academy Française. If anybody's looking to put their child in a school in Jefferson Parish, that's the place to put them, over on the West Bank in beautiful Gretna. There's my advertisement for the night.
There you go. 3rd and 13 at the 34-yard line. Pressure up the middle. Quarterback's got to hurry. Pass is intercepted. And that was Jai Dillon, the linebacker, the junior, coming up with the pick. Another look here, Wade. The pressure starts everything.
Well, yeah, the pressure starts everything by Jacques Robichaud. Big Jacques Robichaud gets into the eyes of DeBetta, and he just throws the ball out there. It's forced in, and when you're trying to force the ball and you can't see, bad things are going to happen, and there's your pick. And that's exactly what Acadiana can't do. Number one, give the ball back with 3:56 left in the half. Number two, give the ball back inside your own territory. That's a recipe for disaster.
All right, so St. Aug takes over at the Acadiana 34-yard line. Coulon rolling. He'll put it down and go. Past the 30, will step out at the 28-yard line. That's, he's a dual threat guy. He's dangerous with his legs as well. Mentioned he had a 100-yard rushing game against Holy Cross a few weeks back.
Well, right there, everything was covered. Credit Acadiana secondary for covering everything downfield. What does Coulon see? Nothing open. He's going to make something happen. He knows where he's got to go, and he gets out of bounds and stops the clock.
So 2nd and 4 for the Purple Knights. Give it off the right side, and Noble gets the first down and a little bit more out to the 21-yard line, I believe is where they're going to say he stepped out. Gain of 7.
That's a big dude. Now, he's 6'3", right? And they have him listed at 170 pounds, but I'm going to tell you right now, he's every bit of 200, right? I mean, that's a big dude.
Maybe he was 170 in preseason.
Yeah, there you go. And Mama's cooking took care of it. But look, and he's only, like we said, he's young. He's a sophomore.
St. Aug on the fringe of the red zone once again, and whistles before this one can get underway. Let's see if this is a false start. It is, and Purple Knights.
Yeah, something went on.
Gets stopped by the yellow flag. That's about the only thing that slowed him down here in the last 15 minutes of football.
Yeah, something went on with Gregory Shields that time. Something didn't sound right to him, so you just can't reset, buddy. Right? I mean, that's exactly what he did, and he got the call on him. He turned around and had something to say to his quarterback.
It's at the 26. Now, 1st and 15. Play action. Pass is caught. Almost got it all back right there as Derek Bennett makes the catch. He did get it all back, almost got the first down. It's a gain of 14 on the play.
A little mustard on that ball. You want to see the strength of Coulon's arm, right? He zings that thing in there like a 98-mile-per-hour fastball, right? And puts it right on the numbers of Bennett. Bennett, if he didn't catch it, he's going to be wearing it. That's how hard that ball was thrown. Look, we haven't called St. Aug all year, and we've heard about Fashawn Coulon. I am impressed with this young man.
Yes, I am. Whistles or timeout before this one can get started. 2:33 to play, and Robert Valdez wants to talk about the situation here on 2nd and 1 at the 15-yard line, which gives us a chance. Let's Division I select. We showed you the bottom of the bracket earlier. Take a look at the other side, the top of the bracket that features, of course, the number 1 seed, the Edna Carr Cougars. They are playing over at Morris Jeff Stadium tonight against Jesuit. They lead that game 14-0 second quarter. Evangel is the 8th seed, that 8-9 matchup. Evangel leading St. Paul's 13-0 second quarter.
That's an intriguing matchup.
Yeah, 8-9,
right?
That's pretty fascinating. Yeah, that could, that's, you got some talent there, certainly. And, of course, Pop Houston, the Evangel quarterback, is an LSU commit. Up in Alexandria this evening, the Trojans leading Brother Martin 10-6 second quarter. And in second quarter, Catholic and Captain Shreve scoreless.
Wow.
I think there might be some points scored in that game. But,
I've heard Catholic Shreve is like a scoring machine.
Yeah, now
right?
on the other side, on this side of the bracket, by the way, Rummel leading Tioga 21-14 second quarter. Second quarter, John Curtis leads St. Thomas More 28-0. Second quarter, Turlings leads Bonneville 7-6.
Wow.
2nd and 1. That looked like a lateral right there out to Zion Williams, who was lined up in the backfield that time. I believe that was 15 and not 18. Yes, Williams will, I believe, get the first down. Let's see if they're going to move it. Now they've got it. Oh, my mistake there. That was, they put it back at the 14-yard line, so they needed 3 on the play. That's a gain of 1, so it's going to make it 3rd and about 2.
St. Aug working with 2 timeouts, right? Clock. They don't need to be in a hurry. everything is at their hands here as far as running or throwing the football.
And timeout Acadiana with 1:54 to play. This is critical right here for the Wrecking Rams. They've got to find a way to get a stop. They've got 3rd and 2. Now, obviously, the Purple Knights have 2 downs to try to find a way to get 2 yards. But this is certainly a critical possession.
No doubt. And I think that's a smart timeout by Doug Dotson. They saw something that wasn't right, whether it's personnel-wise or the call-wise. As you said, this is vital. They can't give up another score to the Purple Knights here and take that and have to come out and kick the ball off, right? And it ends up being a twofer for possibly for St. Aug. Look, Doug Dotson in his first year has done an excellent job. His staff, those guys are, I've watched film of them all year, and their guys are always ready to play, and that's a credit to that coaching staff, especially in year one of his head coaching career starting at Acadiana.
Yeah, at Acadiana. He has been a head coach at Plaquemine, at Central, at Erath, and at Como. Nice defense that time as Acadiana upends Jael Noble. It looks to be short of the first down. In fact, they're going to mark him all the way back. His knee hit at the 14-yard line, so a loss of 1.
Yeah, Joel Dorion, that nice tackle right there. Number 47, 6'2", 215. He's a junior. Somebody forgot to block him, right? And he just lit up.
All right, Purple Knights going to go for this. And look, they got the diamond formation at the top of your screen there. And I believe for it is underway, it's going to be timeout Acadiana.
Well, you got to make sure that you can cover that bunch route or that bunch formation, right? And that's what they're going back over. Why not use that timeout to do that?
Sure.
And make sure that you cover that bunch formation, because it does present route issues once the ball is turned over. So it's tough to play man against that. What you're going to usually do is match up inside, outside, that sort of thing, and you try to jam the top of that formation.
If you can get in there, a lot of times that pass is going to the guy all the way at the top of the diamond, and the other 3 are going to be blockers.
Yeah, so look for St. Aug probably to come out in a different formation. I don't know if they'll come out in the same formation now, knowing that there's going to be an adjustment made to what they just came out in.
So you see the clock, 1:28 to play. Acadiana out of timeout. St. Aug with 2 remaining. So let's see what they come out in this time.
Oh, they're out back, still in that same bunch formation to the wide side of the field.
This time it's trips at the top of your screen, but instead of, they've inserted Noble into the game. Remember they threw that pass to Noble in the flat earlier. Maybe they try to run everybody off here. Let's see. Oh, it's a direct snap to Coulon to run, and this is going to be close. I don't know if he got to the sticks, Wade.
No, he did not. He's going to be short by about a yard.
And he needed to get to the 11. He is marked down at the 12-yard line, and that is a big stop for the Purple Knights. This was run all the way, trying to get guys out of the box, and that's a big one-on-one tackle right there. I believe that might have been Gallion making the stop.
Yeah, Gallion was in on that play in the secondary, did a nice job. He will play defense from time to time, and you can see that he can tackle, right? Huge stop by Acadiana right there. Let's be smart in 1 minute and 28 seconds. So we're reckoning Rams don't want to give the ball up with something silly down here, and if they can, just get out of this half, get in, regroup, and come back out in the second half with St. Aug getting the ball.
Fake pass on first down. Now this pass, that was a lateral. This may be a safety. They haven't blown it dead. Let's see what the call is.
That should be a safety.
It is. It is. The ball went back. It doesn't matter whether the arm went forward. The ball went backwards, and it goes out of the end zone for a safety.
The problem was Gallion was just standing there watching the ball, right? That ball goes backwards, or even if it's parallel, you better get on that thing. Let's see why the ball, there's a pump, they're trying to do a double move. He is gripped on the backside by number 17 from St. Aug.
And that was LaMartina in the game at quarterback that time, not DeBetta.
Caleb Trueblood from the backside for St. Aug comes in and just wraps up LaMartina, trying to throw the double move out there. Ball gets knocked out backwards. Guyan just can't stand there and watch it. He just stand there and watch it as it's rolling into the end zone. They're lucky it didn't turn out coming back into the end zone and a guy from the Purple Knights getting on it for a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they're fortunate that it's only 2 and not 7. And look, well, it's not ideal. It's still a 2-possession game right now. It's you know, as you go in, it's 16. There's still a minute 13. Let's see what, you know.
But it's a momentum thing.
Oh, certainly.
It's a momentum thing.
No doubt, because you had the momentum with the 4th down stop, and now you just gave it back.
With 1:13 left on the clock, St. Aug, with 2 timeouts, will have a shot.
No doubt.
Right? So, this is, you know, not good. Not good. I just hate to see that sort of stuff because you just come off of a great defensive stand, right? And you have the opportunity to take some momentum into the locker room, and a mistake is made like that.
They're gonna. Usually, you see the punter out here. They're gonna kick off. This will go back to the 22-yard line. Return out past the 40, 45 midfield as.
Great field position.
The return that time, yeah, outstanding job right there. I believe that was Whitley on the return that gets the Purple Knights out past the 50 and certainly with a chance to do something here. Call it the 49-yard line. So.
And the other problem,
yeah.
Your defense was just on the field, right? I mean, they're winded. They're gassed right now. So, you know, they didn't get much time to catch their breath. It is a warm and humid night, as we have already said. And you got your guys right back out on the field. Here's where St. Aug needs to take a shot right now.
Haven't really seen them do that much of that so far.
I'm taking a shot right now. Take a shot.
And hang on here. We've got... Are they going to wave this off, I believe? Let's see. So
now
we're going to talk about it for a minute.
Yeah, no, that's about dinner after the game.
I think he's got a flag in his hand and he's about to wave it off. Yes. Okay.
Well, they got to get something to eat after the game, right? So there's always that conversation.
A lot of good places in New Orleans.
Absolutely. right around this neighborhood.
And Kenner on the oh, no doubt. No doubt. Go hit our friend Scott Craig at Francesca by Katie's. If he's open till 10. May not be able to get there if this thing drags on a little bit. Pass in the flat. First down, or not first, on a first down play. Won't get to the sticks. That's the first time tonight that we have called Miguel Whitley's name. Gain of about 5.
Hey, a whole host of guys, right? A whole host of weapons. Whitley comes in with 734 yards on the season.
Yeah, 12 touchdowns. Number 9 player in Louisiana in the class of 27, as that pass is incomplete. That was intended for Christopher Dupuy, the other tight end.
3 tight ends they're going to use. A guy named Davis Haydell. We've seen Kamari Navarre, and now we see Christopher Dupuy. 3 tight ends that
you wouldn't expect that to be the case. Or if you are, then you use them as blockers. But these guys are certainly capable receivers, and they're smaller guys at 190, at 185. Not maybe some offensive lineman converted to be a tight end, perhaps.
Right. They're athletic.
Now they're going to get a little tighter in the formation here on 3rd and 5. 38 seconds to play. Cool on near side pass caught. First down. That's once again Whitley's second catch of the drive, and a gain of about 9 on the play to the 35.
Biggest thing it does, it stops the clock. 34 seconds. Still 2 timeouts. They can run the football at least one time if they want to and stop it with a timeout, right?
Yeah. Everything's available in the playbook when you've got timeouts. Coulon rolls right, fires, incomplete in the direction of Zion Williams. And it's 2nd down and 10 with 28 seconds to play.
You could tell that Acadiana defense is gassed right here.
Well, they've been on the field a lot, certainly.
No doubt about it.
Well, even before that, I mean, there were some 3-and-outs in there for the Acadiana offense, so they weren't getting a chance to rest a lot. Play action. Coulon going to take a shot down the field. That could have been intercepted right there, and that was Keon Leday, the strong safety who's got a team-leading 3 interceptions on the year. Did get a hand on that one. It's 3rd down.
I don't know if he couldn't have come up with that ball, right? I think it hit him pretty much where he had a shot at catching that thing. I can see him shaking his head back and forth right now like, oh, man, I should have had that one.
It really had a chance to – there was some room there if he makes the play. Maybe he might have gone.
He might have gone. You're right.
So 3rd and 10 for the Purple Knights with 23 on the clock. Coulon, pass, incomplete. Whitley was the intended receiver, and it's 4th down.
It looks like he came up a little lame. He's limping on his right leg, and it was a shot down the boundary. Great coverage by the Wrecking Rams, but Whitley looks like he comes up a little bit lame on his right foot, and he's limping off.
All right, so let's see what St. Aug will do here on 4th and 10. They're going to call timeout and talk about it. Can't take them with you.
No, you can't.
Yeah. You don't get 5 in the second half if you've got 2 left. So it's a chance for us once again to remind you, coming up at halftime, we will talk about the Louisiana High School football playoffs. Ken Trahan and I broke down the second week of the season. Games underway. It's interesting looking at this. I see a lot in Division I non-select. We'll get into that with Ken. There are 4 road teams winning. The 4 teams, I think that's right. Yeah, 4 road teams are winning right now in Division I non-select. They're coming up to half. So one game is at halftime. Ouachita Parish, the 14, leads Destrehan to 3, 7-6.
Wow.
We thought that could be a game that was going to play closer to what the seed suggested. That District 2 5A, you talk about who it is that you play, to get you ready for this time of year. And that is Ouachita Parish was a 14 seed because they lost, I think 4 district games, okay? But they've been tested in that league. I mean, you're talking about Neville and Ruston and West Monroe and Alexandria Senior High, okay? That's a brutal gauntlet to have to go through. It's only a 16 league, so you play 5 district games. Those last 5 games of the year are tough. I think they were actually number 1 in the power rankings going into district play. Give you an idea. So they obviously played some people outside of the district.
Well, they're having some sort of communication issue. It doesn't look like that Sean Coulon has all of the information from Robert Valdez there, so he had to run back over and reassess the situation. My question is, how long is the timeout, right?
That's a good question.
Why? Wow, that was a long timeout.
All right, so 4th down and 10. Got to get it to the 25-yard line. They'll motion the back. They'll come back this way with the screen. Pass is caught. Room to run down the sideline. 20, 15, 10, 5. Ball is out, and it is recovered by... Well, they got to talk about it. It looks like St. Aug got the ball, but were they in bounds when they made the recovery? Touchback. It went out of bounds before the St. Aug player could come up with it, and that is a huge break for Acadiana here. Let's take another look, Wade, and see what happens.
Well, it's tunnel screen to Derek Bennett. He gets behind the offensive tackle, and he shoots down. The ball comes out, rolls into the end zone, and it's bobbled, knocked out.
That's a clean recovery by DeBetta.
Yeah.
He got the ball inbounds, so it was I thought perhaps the St. Aug player ended up with it. It was a question of inbounds or out of bounds, but it was DeBetta that made the recovery in the end zone. Yeah, great play and a great strip from behind there. I didn't get a number on that in terms of who knocked it out from behind, but that was a big time play as well. that's a touchdown-saving play right there.
Yeah, DeBetta hustling his tail off, gets over there and gets it knocked out of bounds, understanding the situational awareness of what's going on, right, just to make it a touchback to allow them to come back and fight another day. But the ball, Bennett, was slapped out of his hand at about the 5-yard line and rolled all the way into the end zone. Wow, what a mad scramble for the ball, and what a great ending to this first half.
Yep, so Acadiana will kneel down to end the first half, and what we've seen about everything here in the first half.
Yeah,
we saw safety. We saw a 93-yard touchdown pass. We saw a 93-yard kickoff return. But your thoughts on what the St. Aug team was able to do, falling behind 14-0 after 6 minutes, the response that they have made. I don't want to say to take control of this game. It's still, but they're certainly in a much better position right now than they were 6 minutes in.
Well, it's like a prize fight, right? You come out in the first round and you're just getting your tail whipped. You're getting punched in the mouth, punched in the nose, punched in the nose. All of a sudden, the bell rings and you go into the second round. You wake up, right? And you start counter-punching and landing punches, and that's exactly what St. Augustine has done. But look, don't count Acadiana out. Look, these guys, you just saw the hustle out of them right there. They could have easily laid down after that safety, correct? They didn't. They played hard with a winded defense on the field going in at the end of the second quarter, right? So, I look for great things in both teams coming out in the second half of this football game.
It will be interesting to see. By the way, see in the top right-hand corner of your screen, that QR code, you scan that, go right to our Prep Football scoreboard at CrescentCitySports.com, brought to you by the All-State Sugar Bowl.
That's high tech. I don't even know how to use that.
There you go. You need to break out your phone there and give it a shot. All right, so as we mentioned, Ken Trahan and I had a chance to sit down leading into the Week 2 playoff games and kind of break it down in every bracket, 4 select, 4 non-select. Here's my visit with Ken from earlier this week. Well, it is Week 2 of the Louisiana High School playoffs, Ken, and we're down to now 64 games this week. When we get past Friday night, we'll have 64 winners, and as our friend, the late Rick Gala, used to say, if you're practicing on Thanksgiving Day, it's been a good season. The winners on Friday night will be practicing on Thanksgiving Day and getting ready for a game the Friday after Thanksgiving.
This gets better. Week 1 is never real good. You had 55 games decided by 20 points or more in Week 1, but that's not unusual. And you only have one top 10 seed that got knocked out in Round 1, Northwood, in Division 1 non-select. So now we start to see more competitive games, and we'll see some lower seeds win this week.
Absolutely. So let's start on the non-select side in Division 1. In the non-select side, the top 4 teams all had byes last week. What do you see, first of all, is maybe the most attractive matchup in this part of the bracket? And, is there somebody, you talked about those upsets, where do you maybe see an upset coming from?
Well, I think there's a bunch of attractive matchups, and some of them are intersectional. Like Baton Rouge School against Baton Rouge School. East Ascension at Central. East Ascension's a very physical football team. Central has done a great job this year after a state championship last year, losing the preponderance of their players. Spartans are physical. This is going to be a very close football game. And you look at their common opponents, and they both lost to Denham Springs by 6, so it gives you some perspective. Speaking of Denham Springs, they host Zachary. Well, you know what Zachary's been over the years, and Zachary's the 13th seed. They're used to being there. The Yellow Jackets aren't. Yellow Jackets are probably a little better, but Zachary's used to being there, so that could be a potential upset. Washita Parish, I should say, at Destrehan. And the Lions barely survived last week. They got to travel all the way to Destrehan. I like Destrehan to win the game, but this is a tough second-round game for Destrehan. Washita Parish coming out of that brutal 2-5A district. Hahnville at Parkway. I'm not sure who's going to stop the other team in that game. It's going to be a bunch of points. Hahnville can score with Parkway. It's a long trip, but they're going to have to score, and they do have a chance in that game, in my opinion.
Well, we remember Destrehan going to Captain Shreve in the regular season and, keeping the odometer moving the whole night long. You go to Division 2 non-select, and again, 1 through 4 sat out last week. Now they come into the bracket this week. Your thoughts there?
Well, I think that it's probably a weaker bracket as compared to others, and that seems to be the case annually, and that's not a criticism. It's just a statement of fact in terms of power points and what kind of teams you have. There are good teams, though, and the good matchups. The 9-8 matchup is a very good matchup. Jennings at Franklinton. Jennings can really score. They've lost to nothing but very good teams. Franklinton's been good but not great this year, but Jacob Crane is a difference maker. They're at home. That's a good one. Cecilia is the defending state champion. They're the 13, and they're at Lakeshore. And they're scoring over 40 a game. Lakeshore is so well coached and so disciplined under Brent Indest. But this is a tough matchup for Lakeshore in the second round at home against the defending state champion. So watch out for the Bulldogs there.
Yeah, Lakeshore and Belle Chase both coming into the bracket now this week. We move on to Division III non-select. Local interest, of course, St. James. They come in after the bye. Your thoughts here?
St. James will win against Manny. Sterlington will win. As I said before, I think those two will meet in the semifinals on one side. Then, of course, when you look at really good games this week, look, Union Parish doesn't have a great record, but we know what they are, and they've been in the Dome. They're a winner. They play a tough schedule. They're the 12 seed. They're at Erath, and Erath's a very good team, but the Farmers have played a very tough schedule, so watch out there for an upset. The 20 seed Kaplan is at the Fort Kinder. Kinder's really good. Kaplan last week, they went to Pine, a team I really respect, and beat them by 15 points. So that was kind of an eye-opener. This is the K game, Kaplan against Kinder. So, hey, should be fun. I'm Kenny. I like it.
There you go. All right, we get to Division IV non-select, and what is it that jumps out on the page to you there?
Well, you got the oldest rivalry in Louisiana renewed, Homer and Haynesville. Of course, it was a one-sided game. Haynesville won 54-6 in the regular season, and the Tornadoes will win again. They're the prohibitive favorite in this particular class. But just having that rivalry renewed again is pretty special. The one that sticks out to me is Faraday, the 10 at the 7, East Feliciana. East Feliciana is really good, but Faraday is playing great, and they've outscored their last two opponents 104-6. So I think Faraday's got a real shot in this game.
Be one to watch there. Of course, South Plaquemines locally getting underway after their first round bye. All right, let's switch sides to the select side, and it's a little bit different there. It's a 24-team bracket, so everybody who's at home this week, 1 through 8, all sat out last week, while the visitors were all in action last week. So we start with Division I, and we're going to immediately tell you, of course, that you're calling the Rummel-Tioga game Friday night, so we'll leave that out of the conversation. I'm calling the St. Augustine Acadiana game. Leaving that out of the conversation here as we start to analyze a little bit in terms of what we think might happen in some of these games. So we start there with Division I.
Well, I'll put those in the conversation. They're both really good games. Acadiana's a traditional power. They've won 8 in a row. St. Augustine might be the second best team in the class. Got one injury of note, but they're really good, and Robert Valdez has done a great job. So that's a really good matchup to get in the second round. You would expect that one later in the playoffs. Rummel, 7-4. That's a good 7-4 football team. All you need to do is look at strength of schedule and who they've played. Really good running game. Tioga's got a terrific offense, an LSU commit, and wide receiver. They score a bundle of points. So those are two really good matchups. Meanwhile, you've got St. Paul's, the 9, traveling all the way to Shreveport at Durant Field to play Evangel Christian. Boy, you talk about a great game and a contrast. This is one I'd like to do. St. Paul's has the great running game. Evangel has the great passing game. Something's got to give. Who imposes whose will there? I think the Wolves have a real shot in that game. And then, of course, St. Thomas More, traditional power, traveling to the Shrine in Metairie to play John Curtis Christian. St. Thomas More, great program for so many years, state championship program. John Curtis, we know, the most championships in Louisiana sports history. And, of course, you got the 2 winningest coaches in the history of Louisiana high school football there, and John Curtis and, of course, in St. Thomas More. So doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, about close to 1,100 wins between those guys. That's pretty extraordinary. Okay, Division II select, and again, there's obviously a lot more as we get to the select side. A lot more local teams factoring into play here. Of course, there you're talking about St. Charles Catholic, the number 1 seed, and your thoughts on the rest of the bracket.
Well, it's a really tough bracket. I mean, it's top heavy. There's so many really good teams in the top 8 seeds, and that's why I really don't see upsets in this particular class. I think St. Michael's a good team. They could contest E.D. White, but E.D. White's so tough when it comes to the playoffs, and they're hard to play against, and I can't pick against the Cardinals, but that might be the matchup that's worth watching. But like I said, I just think it's a top-heavy bracket, and I really like the teams that are near the top. They're all really good teams.
So this is, if one bracket comes through 1 through 8 with the chalk holding, this may be the one you think it is.
I think that would be accurate, yes.
Okay, let's move on to Division III select, and you got a lot of attractive matchups here as well. and again, those top 8 seeds coming into play for the first time. Your thoughts?
Well, you got Catholic New Iberia as the defending champion, and they're in the 9. They're a road team at Bunkie. Now, Bunkie's had 2 straight outstanding seasons. A regional game, 2 teams that are not too far apart. But, hey, you got the defending champion, and they're really good, and they're really well coached. Coach Desormo does a great job, so Catholic New Iberia, a live lower seed there, although it's a 9-8, I think they've got a great chance to win. Ameet's a 10 seed. They go to an emerging power in Lafayette Renaissance. Are they there yet? Lafayette Renaissance, I don't know, but we know Ameet is, so there's a real shot for the Warriors there. And don't sleep on the 18 De La Salle. They're going to number 2 Notre Dame. I've said it before. Look at their pre-district schedule. It was overloaded with powerful teams, and look, I've done a couple of their games. They're big and strong. They've got really good running backs. This will be a good football game.
Well, as Graham Jarrett said on your show on Saturday, this is why you play those difficult pre-district games, is to get ready for a matchup like this. So we close it out with Division 4 Select. And I think maybe if anything's got a chance to, blow up the bracket with double-digit seeds, this may be the spot.
Yeah, I definitely think that's true, and I think there's some really good matchups here. The number 9, St. Edmund, boy, they can score. And they're at the number 8, Covenant Christian. They scored over 60 last week, but Covenant can score too, and they got to go to the Bayou. But that's a game that could go either way. Blue Jays are very good offensively. St. Frederick, the 14. This is a good team at 14, and they're at Hamilton Christian. I'd watch that one pretty closely too. Kenwood is in 11. We know what they've been over the years. They're at the 6 Ascension Episcopal. Really good matchup. Kangaroos battle-tested. Think they have a real shot there. And, of course, a game that you would think you might see in the Dome or see in the semifinals at the very least, the number 10 Southern Lab at the number 7 Ouachita Christian. You might give a slight edge to the Eagles because they're at home. I picked them to win it all before it started. But, boy, what a tough second-round matchup they have, having Southern Lab there. Those are just 4, but I think there's a lot in that particular bracket.
Yeah, it's a terrific bracket, and arguably that is the best game of all of the 64 this week, potentially, is that Southern Lab OCS game going on in Monroe. Of course, there's no better place to keep up with all of the action than right here at Crescent City Sports with our scoreboard presented by the All-State Sugar Bowl. Of course, Ken has the original on Friday nights on 106.7 The Ticket and his statewide network with the Archbishop Rummel Tioga game embedded inside his show this week. So check it all out, as there is no better place to be to keep up with all of your coverage of high school football on the road to the Dome. All right, and we welcome you back to Tad Gormley Stadium, and reminder to keep up with all of those scores. You can scan that QR code at the top of the screen.
It's pretty cool.
Hey,
we
try. Look, I know there's a lot. I know there's a lot of people. It's one thing when it's on your phone, but there's a lot of people at home watching on their TV sets. Correct. Whether they're watching us on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network, or they're watching us on the Crescent City Sports YouTube channel, and you've got it. You've got it on your smart TV right now. Just scan that. You keep up with all the scores, and we're going to help you.
It doesn't take much to impress me. Stuff like that impresses me, right? That's pretty cool.
We try. Okay, so let's whip around quickly and let's hit on some of the high points here. In Division I Select, third quarter, Edna Carr leads Jets with 20-0. Halftime, it's Evangel 20, St. Paul's 14. Halftime, Alexandria leads Brother Martin 17-13. Halftime, Captain Shreve and Catholic are scoreless. Second quarter, it is Rummel 28, Tioga 14. They've actually reached the half there. Third quarter now, John Curtis 28, St. Thomas More nothing. And at halftime, Turlings leads Bonneville 28-14. Division I non-select. Interesting scores here. Second quarter, Ruston leads Westgate 35-7. Second quarter, now I think this game may have actually gone to halftime. Southside leading Terrebonne 36-22. Halftime, Central over East Ascension 18-17. Second quarter, Zachary on the road leading Denham Springs. One of the possible upsets that Ken alluded to when we looked at the brackets, 30-14. Third quarter, Ouachita Parish over Destrehan, another game that he mentioned there, 7-6. Halftime, Parkway leading Hahnville 17-14. Third quarter, how about this one? Barb, the 26 seed, leading West Monroe 28-14. That one kind of jumped out at me there in terms of possible upsets. And at halftime, it's Neville 24, Mandeville 7. As you move on to Division II non-select, there's a couple of tight ones. There's a lot of blowouts going on, but let's look at the tight ones. Kennedy on the road in Baton Rouge against Madison Prep, 12-12 in the second quarter. That's an interesting score there. Lake Charles College Prep in Leesville, Ken mentioned that one, 16-15 Lake Charles College Prep second quarter of that game. And as you, looks like pretty much Division II select all of your home teams in a good position right now. Lutcher on the road leading Franklin Parish 28-19. There's an interesting one. Yeah. Iowa at half leading Northwest 22-14. Let's see. Also, Catholic of New Iberia over Bunkie 20-13. That is a halftime score. And here's another one that I believe Ken mentioned: Marksville and Mansfield 24-all at halftime. Another one at the half: Union Parish over Erath 14-6. There's a lot to be said. A lot of the teams that we're mentioning here, they may be lower seeds, okay, but they are teams with a lot of experience,
right,
in terms of getting it done this time of year. That's like I alluded to in the package. Our friend the late Rick Gale used to say, if you're going to practice on Thanksgiving Day, it's been a good year. All the winners tonight are going to be practicing on Thanksgiving Day.
And you look, once the playoffs start and you are playing, you can kind of take some of those seeds and just toss them, right? Mm-hmm. It's about how you got there. It's about the experience that you've had throughout that 10 weeks of regular season and how many ever weeks of district play you have. And you might be hitting your stride at the right time on week 11, in this case on week 12, right?
No doubt.
I mean, Bell chasing a tight one with Opelousas right now in the third quarter, 7-0. How about Lakeshore 21, Cecilia 14?
And look,
we did Lakeshore
team
earlier in the year.
We did, and look, Cecilia's one of those teams that has been there, done that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so no, certainly, and look, same with Opelousas for that matter. As they're in a tight one right now with Opelousas, but you got a lot of teams, and at least on the select side of Division II that are. That are in command. You got some tighter games on the non-select side, and some things are going to sort themselves out. We mentioned that Lutcher lead over Franklin Parish, certainly. So, let's not forget that one, because Ken did mention that one. That's a 2-18, and one of the things that we talked about, and we talked about earlier tonight, it's all about who you play getting ready to get tested. And De La Salle played a brutal non-district schedule, and they are in a battle tonight with the 2-seed Notre Dame. It's 14-13. The Pios lead it at halftime, and that would be, seed-wise, that would be as big an upset as we've seen in the playoffs if an 18 can go on the road and beat a 2, and you still got 24 minutes of football to go in a one-point game right there. But
another team hitting its stride right now that kind of stumbled a little bit in the regular season is Newman, right? Up 42-0 right now. Just this seems to be cruising. Have dropped it down into another gear. They're beating Holy Savior Menard 42-0.
Yeah,
right?
Aaron Weiss, you can go watch the video. He spoke at the Greater New Orleans Quarterback Club on Tuesday, and one of the things that he did after that sluggish start is he moved his best player, his running back, Jake Randall, a Tulane commit, moved him to quarterback.
Correct.
And you're putting the ball in his hands, and that has certainly been a difference maker there. Dunham's got a big lead, by the way, over Northlake Christian, 34-3. Those two teams certainly on course to meet in the quarterfinals. It would be a very intriguing quarterfinal next week. You got the non-prototypical quarterback that Newman's got in in Randall, moving from running back, against the highly touted prospect at Dunham and Elijah Haven. That will be one potentially to watch next week. One of these teams will move on to the quarterfinals next Friday night. St. Aug's certainly in a position right now, leading this one 30-14. Remember, scan that QR code. You can go check out all the scores at CrescentCitySports.com with our scoreboard presented by the All-State Sugar Bowl. The second half coming up in just a moment here on Crescent City Sports. All right, we get set to get things underway in the third quarter. It gives us a chance to remind you that tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by Game On Social Hub at 2421 Veterans in Kenner, with a full-service restaurant, arcade games, bowling, axe throwing, and laser tag. Game On has it all. They're open till midnight tonight. On Monday nights at 6. Join Ken Trahan with special guests for the Saints Hall of Fame show on 1067 The Ticket, live from Game On Social Hub. I believe Lester Ricard is going to be his guest this week, the former LSU and Tulane quarterback, now a studio analyst for WGNO and WNOL. He'll be in the studio tomorrow night with Richie Mills talking college football on after the SEC games. LSU at home against Western Kentucky tomorrow night. Tulane, it's a big one. They're going to come out and try an onside kick here to start the second half. Acadiana thinks they got it. Let's see. I believe they do. It is Wrecking Rams football. They pulled the fast one there. Lined up, stole the possession, and a nice job there. Let's see who actually came up with the football. I believe that was 19, perhaps.
Very well executed.
Yeah, if that is Javian Lawrence, if that's the case.
Very well executed.
Yeah.
St. Aug was on their heels, not ready for that. You could see they were not ready. They were very soft right there in the middle. First thing they should have done is collapse their front a little bit because of the huddle. Great job coming out of the huddle to kick the onside kick. Love how they use the onside kick to get themselves a little bit of momentum now, coming and stealing a possession at the start of the second half.
Yeah, you remember they won the toss and elected to receive, coming out here in a two-score game right now, and now they've got themselves good field position just inside of midfield. And that ball is loose. Is this a live ball? No, they're going to say incomplete pass, as receiver could not hang on to it right there. Let's take another look at this one, Wade. That is now, DeBetta is now at wide receiver, and he gets drilled right away. That's the right call right there. As Juan Martina, who we saw at wide receiver, has now moved to quarterback, and now DeBetta is at wide receiver. I think Juan Martina, you see both guys.
Yeah, they're not going to leave the field. You've seen them on
film, but I think Juan Martina is a little bit of the better thrower. At least the numbers suggest that's the case. And right now you're in a situation where you probably got to throw it a little bit more than what you've done up until now. Trying to get to the edge that time and unable to do so is Troy Kennerson, nicely defended by the Purple Knights. A gain of 2 on the play.
Yeah, Chad Jones that time, right? Comes from his inside linebacker position. He just runs down the sweep outside. Nicely done. Just couldn't get out there on the edge in order to get something happening, right? And you can see the speed of the Purple Knights, the closing speed, right? You saw it on the little bubble screen right there to see Armand Allen come up and lay the lick, and then you saw it again with Chad Jones coming from inside out with his closing speed.
Play clock at 3. He'll get it away. Play action. La Martinez pass is caught and room to run, and guess who? It is Travis Gallion going the distance, 47 yards for his second touchdown tonight. And Acadiana's got to go for 2 here to make this a one-score game.
Again, they fake the veer one way. They come back to the post route or the slant route to Gallion, right? And St. Aug doesn't have an answer for that. They're in man coverage. Gallion runs a nice little slant post route, an 8 route, whatever you want to call it, and the ball's delivered right on time, and he runs away from St. Aug.
I don't understand this. They kicked the extra point. Well, hang on. We got flags before this can get underway. Let's see who the penalty is on. Is this offside defense? It is. And I think at this point now you've got to send out your offense and try to get 2. Again, it's simple math here. You started a half down 16. That's 2 8s. And I wouldn't say it's too soon to start chasing points here.
No. Not the way St. Aug's been scoring. You got to chase your points. You got to go get the 2-point conversion. It should be paramount on your card. And after the score, you shouldn't even have lined up to kick the 1, right? What's going to aid them is going to be moving the ball half the distance to the goal line on the penalty.
You get to run it from the 1.5 yard line. So pretty much everything's in play. Now, they break the huddle, and there's only 5 on the play clock.
4. 3. They're going to have to waste timeout.
Nope, they got it off, and I don't know if they got it in or not. Let's see. Yes, they'll say he got across. They ran that quick dive. Wasn't sure if the knee hit first. A late signal from the far side linesman who comes in as they just got it away.
Wow, I thought they're going to have to call timeout to stop it right there. Just got it off with half a click on the clock, right? What a change of events. It all starts with an onside kick coming out of the locker room at halftime. I love the boldness of the call by Doug Dotson and his staff.
So suddenly, a minute into the third quarter, we've got a 1-score game. We have seen some fast changes of momentum tonight, haven't we? The early strike of the touchdown, the long kickoff return after Acadiana made it 14-0. Just when you think Acadiana's got momentum with the 4th down stop, then you get the safety. Now you get the onside kick followed by the touchdown, and now the 2, and suddenly it's a 1-score game a minute into the third quarter.
Yeah, exactly. Now you see St. Aug, they have moved and scrunched. Can't see it on the picture. It's just out the side of our picture on the right. But they're in the right spot. They were not there last time. They were not ready. They were caught on their heels.
Yeah, you got to follow. Correct. You got to follow the movement.
Yes. Situational awareness, no doubt.
So this is a shorter kick to about the 15-yard line. And brought out to about the 35-yard line. I believe that was Zion Williams on the return that time, and it was, giving the 36. And so that's where the Purple Knights will start. And they thought they were going to be getting the ball in a 30-14 game coming out of the locker room. Instead, you get the onside kick, the quick score, and now it's 30-22.
In big games, you're going to have to steal possession somewhere, and that's exactly what Doug Dotson did. Stole a possession to start off. We've seen that before, have we not, in this city?
Well, do you remember we thought we were going to see a situation like that in a Haynes-Patrick Taylor game, and then they called a penalty said it was touched too soon, and it looked like there was a recovery, much like we saw just now, but didn't work out that way. Run on first down, maybe a yard that time, and well defended as it's Coan Davis on the carry that time, the freshman.
Yeah, Isaiah Lavallee does a nice job wearing his number 7 tonight rather than his normal number 4. Does a nice job from his linebacker position to make a nice tackle.
So 2nd down and 9. Play action, pass, incomplete. They're looking for flags here. As once again, that's Gallion in the middle of all of that, as Whitley was the intended receiver, and it's 3rd and 9.
Boy, is this guy an athlete, huh? He's playing man coverage out here on the receiver and does a nice job on the slant route, knocking it away.
Over, yep.
Yeah, great job by Gallion.
So 3rd down, 9. Line to make is the 46-yard line. A little over 90 seconds gone by here in the third quarter. They'll roll the pocket. Coulon will put it down and go, and he's going to come up short of the first down by about 5 yards, and that was Gavin Coleman, the senior linebacker and the leading tackler on this team.
Lenny, I want you to watch Gavin Coleman and how he stretches it, right? No place for Coulon to go, right? Stretch, keep contained, keep your outside shoulder loose. Does a great job right there. Everything's covered downfield. That's the way you play great defense. Nice job by Gavin Coleman.
Yeah, and even basically shoved the running back out of the way. He was trying to make a block. 4th and 6, they'll punt it away. Flags, whistles before this can get underway, and it's going to be a false start. Back up the Purple Knights 5 more.
Yeah, they got the gunner.
First time they've punted tonight, I believe, Wade?
I believe so.
Yeah, they turned it over on the first possession, and I think they scored pretty much every time after that. Had the kickoff return, and in 3 straight scores, got the, they had the turnover right before half, so they've turned it over twice tonight.
Well, it was the gunner that moved. He's going to get ripped when he gets to the boundary.
Punt is away. And they'll just let this roll, and it's going to take a huge Purple Knight roll, and it's going to be down at the 16-yard line. So that's a 49-yard punt.
Critical mistake made by DeBetta that time, Colin DeBetta that time, he needed to catch that football, right? That's the hidden yardage we always talk about. Every game we talk about hidden yardage, and that is an example when you let the ball hit the ground and it rolls another 10 or 12 yards.
So they'll put it at the 16-yard line. Less than 2 minutes gone by here in a third quarter where now momentum has really changed completely. Not only did Acadiana get the onside kick, get the quick score, but now they come back and get a 3-and-out, and they've got the ball back.
Exactly, with momentum on their side.
Well, pitch is fumbled, ball is loose, and it is still a scramble for it. I don't know who came up with the football here. I believe the Purple Knights did. They're saying they did. They do at the 2-yard line. And I think we've called a bunch now. If it's Sire Gilmore who came up with it.
On the inside veer, there's the pitch right there behind him. Not a good pitch by the quarterback. DeBetta puts it behind the intended running back right there. He's got to turn almost 360 around to get the ball. Comes off his hands, and look at the Purple Knights now get the momentum back with the recovery by Gilmore on the 2-yard line. Oh, my goodness gracious.
What? Just shifted the momentum again.
Right. This is like Frazier Ali, right? The momentum going back and forth and back and forth, and wow, that is one of the Achilles heel of running an option offense when you do decide to put the ball in the air, in the lateral, on the pitch, right? You've got to make sure that you're good at that in order to make sure it gives the back the proper chance to catch the ball and run with it.
So Lewis is the back. Oh, they run a little shovel pass. Nicely done to Kamari Navar for the touchdown. How about that call? You think it's going? Yeah. You think it's going to the back? No. Here comes the tight end around, and the little pop pass right there, and Navar goes in for the score and a quick answer for the Purple Knights. The third touchdown pass of the night for Vashon Coulon.
And that goes down as a stat because it is a pass, right? So there you go. Boom, little pop pass.
If he didn't catch it, it's incomplete.
Correct. That's how safe that little play is. You're seeing that now at all levels, right? Very well executed by the Purple Knights.
So Coates is on to try to make this a 15-point game. And it's blocked, so it's going to still be a 14-point game, still 2 touchdowns, but this is not college and pro where you can advance the block kick right there, at least on an extra point. It's dead as soon as it's blocked.
Comes off the right edge right there, and that
was number 7. Is that Lavallee?
Yeah, that was Lavallee getting airborne right there, lays out and knocks that thing down. That's a huge point right there.
Keep an eye on that play, because again, now a block kick. Does that help shift momentum?
Well, we've
back to Acadiana.
Right. We've seen a lot of things happening tonight on special teams. Right here you are, second week of the playoffs. Special teams playing a huge part in both teams here tonight, right?
No doubt.
We've had onside kicks. We've had block PATs. We've had kickoff returns. We've had bad punts to set up field positions. Special teams.
It's third of the game.
Yep, no doubt about it.
So more high school football coming for you next Friday night on Crescent City Sports. Check our website, our social media channels for our upcoming schedule as we head to the quarterfinal weekend of Louisiana high school football next week. Line drive kick taken on a hop at about the 5-yard line. Nice return, still moving out past the 35. Well, for a second, that had a chance to go, but Purple Knights do manage to get a couple of hats in there. The ball come out at the end. I saw a point go the other way, but I don't think so. Yeah, it is Acadiana football at the 38-yard line to start this possession. Already the 5th possession of the third quarter, and we've only played 2 minutes and 17 seconds.
Well, the Wrecking Rams take over in great field position. Now, I want to see them get back to doing what they do best, is run the football. I know they've been putting it in Gallion's hands with the slant passes and the hitch passes and things of that nature. I'd love to see them reestablish their run game somehow and get more physical with St. Aug's defensive line.
Whistles, and they were going to hand it off that time to Gallion, but before they can get underway, it's a false start against Acadiana, so they'll play behind the sticks, 1st and 15.
Yeah, well, you can't get your running game going with pre-snap penalties in your 1st and 15 when you're a running football team like Acadiana, right? So that's a huge mistake. Love the play. Get it in the Zero's hands one way or another. Throw it to him or hand it off to him on a counter, which is what that was trying to develop. Boy, I am impressed with that guy, Travis Gallion.
He's a senior. And again, we mentioned early in the broadcast, he was averaging 21.5 yards a catch, averaging 18.7 yards a rush. So he's a threat to make something happen every time he touches the football. Running on 1st down, that time it is Gallion. Or check that, that's 2, not 0, 2. That's Kennerson on the carry. And they'll get 4 on the play. It'll be 2nd down, 11.
Well, that's power right there. That's a gap play with a block down, kick out, and wrap around right there, and Kennerson picks up 4.
Pass is caught with room to run down the sideline, out near the 20-yard line. It's still fighting to the 18-yard line. That is DeBetta on the catch.
He was not defended. They did not have, talking about purple jerseys.
Yeah, he's right. He's out here. He's lined
almost
up.
Hidden by the sidelines right now. You cannot do that. You know, the old where you come in, come off, and you stand right next to the boundary and hide. That you can't do that anymore. He came and broke the huddle. He's got to come in within 9 yards of the boundary. He did all that, and he came out and lined up. St. Aug didn't see him. St. Aug didn't find him. No one covered him. They turn around, throw the route to him, and it's a huge gain for Acadiana.
Gain of 44 on the play. On 1st down, they run it with Kennerson and lose a yard.
Boy, Coates is good.
I tell you what,
he's good, huh?
Coates has been terrific.
He's good,
doing it all tonight. He's making plays in the backfield.
Wow.
He's kicking extra points. He's kicking off. He's getting it done in all phases.
No doubt.
And look,
I used to see.
The thing to remember is this: we really haven't emphasized this enough. Robert Valdez, we talked to him pregame. It's all about stopping the run. They have done a great job of stopping this Acadiana running game, which no one does.
And the thing I'm going to tell you about Coates is he is a great young man, right? I would see him every morning getting out of his mama's car.
Pass on 2nd down into the end zone, into coverage, incomplete, as Peyton Thomas was there to get a hand on that, as that was intended for DeBetta.
And I'll finish my thought real quick. We're talking about Darren Coates here. What a fine young man. Always speaks well, and with yes sir, no sir, and they say he's an outstanding student at St. Augustine. And so I would say I'm kind of partial to the young man because I would see him every morning. I would ask him during baseball season how he's doing and how things are going during football season. I tell you what, he's had a night tonight. Like you said, playing defensive line and then lining up and kicking PATs. What do you know, huh?
I got an injured player down at about the 2-yard line. And when we resume, it's going to be 3rd down and almost 12 for Acadiana here at the 21-yard line. You got to believe this is 4-down territory.
Looks like it's a cramp.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Can't get a number.
He's laying on his back. And again, it is a humid night. We had rain overnight. We weren't sure of the timing of that. I thought rain might play a part in this game, but weather got out of here this morning.
Well, even though we're week 12, right, you still got to stay hydrated in South Louisiana.
No doubt.
Even though the temperatures have been buzzing around, the high 70s, low 80s, it popped up to the high 80s today. You've got to continually stay with your hydration regimen. Good for that young man walking off the field. It looks like number 26, Peyton Thomas. possibly walking off the field right there. You still got to stay with your hydration regimen, even though it's in November. People say, well, it's November, I don't have to drink as much water. Oh, absolutely not. Not if you're a high-quality athlete, especially the athletes today. They're very high-strung, especially in the hamstrings and the calves. You've got to hydrate, and sometimes kids let that get away from them.
So at the 21, the line to make is the 9. Quarterback's pass, is that intercepted? I believe it is. It is. Sire Gilmore took that right off the ground at the 1-yard line and brought it in for the interception of LaMartina. Take another look here, Wade.
Yeah, it's waggle pass. They're trying to hit the post back side, and it's not on target. His intended receiver looked like was Colin DeBetta trying to run the backside post, and it was dreadfully underthrown. Gave Gilmore the chance to come up with another pick. He's got 2 on the season. Give him 3 now.
St. Aug will take over at the 2-yard line with 7:59 remaining here in the third quarter. Purple Knights leading it 36-22. First down, they'll get out of the shadow of the goal line and out near the 10-yard line. Nice run there on first down by Khalil Lewis. It's going to go as a gain of 7.
Yeah, you got to get out of your shadow of your own end zone, right? So look at that St. Aug offensive line, get a push on all those white jerseys right there. There's no better way to do it than pop that ball for about 6.
Not much doing on second down, although they will give them forward progress out to about the 11-yard line, which will make it 3rd down and 1. That was once again Lewis on the carry. So really a big play in this football game right now. St. Aug's going to go tempo here.
Here comes a blitz off the edge. Look at the top of your screen.
They'll toss it, and that is blown up. That is well defended out there by Acadiana. Gavin Coleman once again. They tried to run the toss to the boundary on the short side, and Coleman had no part of it. Just blew this play up. You see him get out there and couldn't get blocked, and then the tackle for a loss of 3, and now the Purple Knights will have to punt it away.
Yeah, he just destroyed Kamari Navarre's block out there on the edge. They lined him up from his inside linebacker position out on the edge, and that was the blitz off the edge that I was talking about, right? And Kamari Navarre just had his hands full, could not do anything with Gavin Coleman.
We got flags before this one can get underway. Let's see what that's about. It's illegal substitution, I believe, against St. Aug.
Too many men on the field?
Perhaps, yeah. They may have lined up in the formation with 12.
Right.
So
if you're a punt returner right now, you've got to catch this football. You cannot let this thing hit the ground unless it's a shank ball.
Right. You talk about like lining up based on average. Lined up at the 33-yard line. That's DeBetta. And it will this time take an Acadiana bounce and then kick out of bounds. They're going to put it out at the 35-yard line. So Acadiana with a much-needed 3 and out to get the football back here with 6:18 to play, and what has just been a third quarter that has just gone back and forth in terms of possessions. We have already seen now 7 possessions in the first 6 minutes of this third quarter. Needless to say, the pace of this game has slowed down immensely. So from the 35, they'll hand it off on first down and room to run. Maybe the best run of the night, as that was a gain of 14 for Kennerson out to the 21-yard line of first down. They check it, they'll put it back at the 22-yard line.
Well, Lenny, he hits the outside veer crease right there. Right down. Reed last man on the line of scrimmage. If he does not close hard, you're going to give the ball. A give is never wrong on the outside veer. Kennerson hits it like coming out of a gun.
Play action on first down. Get it to their favorite target all night. That's been Travis Gallion, way over 100 yards receiving tonight. Couple of touchdowns. Getting in some extra contact to get an extra yard or two down on the 13-yard line, a gain of 9.
You know, they throw the hitch, and then he says, get off of me. Watch. Slap one guy out of the way, slap the other guy out of the way.
Trying to stay.
Just trying to get extra yardage right there.
So second down, 1. Ball at the 13-yard line. Acadiana trying to make it a one-score game once again. They'll get the first down on the ground this time with Kennerson. Loses his helmet, so he's going to have to check out of the game here.
Outside veer again with the give. Give's never wrong, right? I would have loved to seen him rip that thing out and disconnect it right there. He would have probably walked into the end zone. Everybody was suckered inside. Free safety had gone off to the pitch into the alley. Nobody was on the quarterback that time. I'm telling you, they're seeing that upstairs. The Acadiana coaches are going to probably call for that outside veer again, and this time to read it properly and don't be afraid to disconnect that thing, young man. I think that is La Martina this time at quarterback.
La Martina is at quarterback. Play action on first down. Pass into the end zone. Touchdown. Colin DeBetta, who started this game at quarterback, is now at wide receiver. Makes the catch, and we have a one-score game once again, 36-28 with 5:15 to play in the third.
Wearing out the backside slant off of the veer going the opposite direction, right? Just wearing out that play-action pass, quarterback to quarterback. They've got DeBetta out there at the wide receiver. He runs a great route. This guy is a really good athlete. La Martina puts it on the numbers.
It's a 4-play, 35-yard drive. It took, and that is blocked, so it's going to stay a one-score game, but it's an 8-point game right now.
Jeez. Special teams, right?
Right.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Let's see if we can get the number of the guy that blocks it here off the left edge. Right through the C-gap right there.
That's 11. It might have been Darren Coates.
Yeah, that was Darren Coates, it looked like. Squeezes through between the tackle and the tight end right there in the C-gap. Number one, you got to be secure to your inside gap, always. Secure to the inside gap and then to your outside gap on a field goal or a PAT.
So it is 36-28.
Wow. With 5:15 still left in the third quarter, this thing is going back and forth with the switch and changes of momentum that we're getting.
And it is a lot. And it is a third quarter that has moved as a snail's pace as a result. I mean, we're going to have the 8th offensive possession of the third quarter coming up here in a moment. Now you see now St. Aug is they're waiting to break that huddle and showing, hey, we may advance on this, and they made the adjustment.
Yeah, fool me once, right? That's good coaching. Make sure you get it squared away.
So a short kick towards the far sideline, taking it at the 12-yard line. Out to the 25, but the 28-yard line that time on the return. I believe that was another running back, Knowledge Matthews-Collins on the return, number 20.
And he is a sophomore.
They've got him all over this roster. This team is going to be a factor for quite a while. All right, so St. Aug takes over at the 28-yard line, leading it by 8. We'll give it away on first down. This is the freshman running back, Cohen Davis. Will get 3 on first down. That's, look, they've done a nice job of stopping the run. They've got to get back to establishing the run once again here and relying on that.
Well, and that's
give your defense some rest too while you're at it. Yeah,
right. Give your defense some rest, and that's going to be the job of this offensive line, establishing the line of scrimmage.
Pass is caught. Room to run. 40, 30. They are not going to catch Miguel Whitley. 69 yards for the touchdown. So much for your defense getting some rest there, Wade.
Yeah.
2-play drive, 72 yards. That is the 4th touchdown pass of the night for Vashawn Coulon.
Off the RPO, right? So everything's off of the run right there. They have the leverage with the wide receiver. Whitley has the leverage on the corner, so he runs the post slant right there. Ball's disconnected by Coulon, and he puts it right on the money of Whitley for the 69-yard touchdown pass. Wow.
Back and forth we go. It is now a 14-point game once again with a PAT pending. Each team has scored 2 touchdowns here in this third quarter, much like we saw in the first quarter. And that kick is blocked again.
See, it's a timing thing there. That's not a protection thing right there. It's just the snap's slow, the hold is slow, the whole operation is slow by St. Aug. Timing is off, and that's allowing Acadiana to come off of the right edge of the formation and get their hands on the ball. That whole operation needs to be 0.7 seconds or faster right there, and almost to 1 second. I'm sure if you put a clock on that, it's way off time.
So it is 42-28. St. Aug, 2 touchdowns, 2 failed extra points here in the third quarter. Acadiana, 2 touchdowns. They got a 2-point conversion and a missed extra point on their second touchdown, so they've scored 14.
And we're not even out of the third quarter. Wow.
Still 4 minutes and 29 seconds to go in the third. It's actually Gilmore handling the kickoff duties. I believe I said it was Coates earlier. Trying to get to the edge and run down the sideline. Midfield still on his feet. 40, 30, 20, 10. Touchdown, Acadiana. And guess who? Travis Gallion has been the man tonight.
There's only one thing I can say about this guy. He's a horse, man. Look, I tell you. Somehow, some way, he can't leave the field. And you got to put the ball in his hands as
often
much as
possible.
You can. Yep. Right, yeah, you got to wear this guy out. I mean, he is an outstanding athlete. He brings a lot to the table.
Right, 87 yards for the touchdown. And it looks like we're going to line up and go. They are going to kick the extra point here. I'm sorry. Didn't see a holder out there at first. La Martina now in place for the hold. Kick is on the way. Kick is good. And your new score as we just continue to go back and forth. St. Augustine 42, Acadiana 35.
Man, this call sheet that I got has just been flipping around. I mean, it's been going up and down and all around because of the way things have been going on in this third quarter with both of these football teams. These kickoff teams are getting a lot of reps here tonight, I would think, yep. Right? Wow. And all of this, comes out and starts right at the start of the second half with a surprise onside kick to steal a possession by Acadiana.
Right, so we have now seen 6 touchdowns in this third quarter that is not even 8 minutes old. Yeah. Each team, I'll check that, 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns. 3 for Acadiana, 2 for St. Aug. Getting ahead of myself here. But this was a 30-14 game at halftime. Back and forth we have gone here, score for score in the third quarter.
All explosive plays, right? I mean, kickoff returns, big passes, both teams using the explosive play to be able to get on the board.
Taken on a hop at the 15-yard line and nowhere to run this time for Matthews Collins. He's going to be brought down at the 22-yard line.
Isaiah Lavallee does a nice job on the coverage right here. This is the best coverage all night long by the Wrecking Rams, supplied by the linebacker Isaiah Lavallee.
So they're going to put the football down at the 23-yard line. Last drive, St. Aug scored in 2 plays, popped the big pass play for 69 yards to Miguel Whitley, the 4th touchdown pass of the night for Vashon Coulon. And they'll run it on first down, and that is Cohen Davis, the freshman, taking it out to the 31-yard line. They'll continue to go with some tempo on offense. Gain of 8, 2nd and 2. It's Davis again. First down, Purple Knights, as they'll blow it dead. Forward progress was stopped at the 35-yard line, gain of 4.
You know what I like to see, and Robert Valdez does this, it doesn't matter your age. If you're a young guy and you prove you can, practice the proper way, do things the proper way you ask them to do, and you play hard, I'm going to play you. And that's what he does with these freshmen and sophomores, getting tons of valuable reps all season long.
Running again on first down, and nothing doing that time as Gavin Coleman is in to take down Davis for no gain, and it's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Gavin Coleman has had a stellar night, right, for another huge tackle for TFL, right? And he's everywhere. They'll blitz him off the edge. They'll bring him from his normal linebacker alignment that you see right there, 4 yards off the ball, 5 yards off the ball. He just makes tackles.
Give him about a half a yard, actually. This is play action. Now Coulon's going to put it down and run, and he is taken down after a gain of about 2. First time we've called Dante Chavis' name tonight. Came in with 71 tackles and 9 sacks, the senior defensive end.
Yeah, you got to remember they're without their LSU commit tonight, Darius McKinley. Yeah, he's out with a concussion and concussion protocol coming off of last week's first-round win over Karen Crow.
This drive's taking an eternity. It's 2 minutes already on the time of possession here. 5th play of the drive. Play action, pass, caught, first down. And Derek Bennett, who had the kickoff return for a touchdown earlier to kind of flip the momentum in the Purple Knights' favor, brings in that one. Number 12 gains 12. It's 1st and 10 at midfield.
Yeah, he's had a nice night. He's hauled in a couple of passes. He came in with 324 yards on the season. Nice set of hands, runs nice routes.
Had that fumble, though, right before halftime.
Yeah, that was
big
right.
play. Maybe a chance to put this thing away right there. And still on his feet and out for the first down. I believe that was Lewis on the play. Yeah, they finally blow it dead. He never did get brought down. And they're going to call him down at the 39-yard line, a gain of 11.
Yeah, well, as a defense right now, you can see that Wrecking Rams are a little gassed, right? Hands on their waist like that, hands on their knees. And when you're not tackling well, you're going to see things like that happen. You're not going to be able to get guys on the ground, and that's exactly where the Wrecking Rams are right now defensively.
Once again, it is Khalil Lewis. Gains 8.
When you got your corners and your safeties making your tackles at the 3rd level, that's not good.
Yeah,
2 linebackers missed the tackle right there, and he pops through into the 3rd level and is brought down by Ty Thomas.
Big offensive line for the Purple Knights, certainly doing the job as they have much of this season. Lewis once again, first down, out to about the 26-yard line.
Yeah, those guys in purple are just leaning on you right now, right? So when you've got some guys that are 275, 260, 230, 250 just leaning on you, you're getting tired up there if you've been on the field all night.
Robert Valdez will slow it down just a little bit here. We're still going with tempo and getting to the line, but just not snapping the ball here until it gets inside of 10 seconds on the play clock. Play action. It is intercepted, I believe. Yes, it is. Keon Leday, the senior. Or check it. Was that 3 Leday? Okay, yeah.
Vachon Coulon didn't even see his alignment as a strong
wow, what a catch.
Right, great catch coming down from the safety position to jump underneath the hitch route. Coulon saw him after he releases the ball, but did you see the hands of Leday?
Wow, went up very high to bring that one in.
To get that ball. Showed his athleticism to come down with a huge pick for the Wrecking Rams. We have seen some great athletic plays here tonight on both sides of the ball.
No question about it. So suddenly, the first time in a long time, Acadiana's got the ball with a chance to tie the game right here.
Well, one of the things they wanted to do, they wanted to get it into a fourth quarter where it's close enough where they've got a chance, correct? And they've been battling from behind all night for the most part, except for that first few minutes of the first quarter, and now they've got that opportunity. Fours go up by the guys on the sidelines in the white jerseys. They know they're in the fourth quarter now, that they get an opportunity to hopefully take control. This is the way they've operated all year long.
We go to the fourth in what has turned out to be a dynamite football game in this regional round of Division I Select Playoffs. Your scores, St. Augustine 42, Acadiana 35. Be back with the fourth quarter right after this on Crescent City Sports. Right, 12 minutes to go. What has gone back and forth and back and forth. Every time we think the momentum is heading one way, Wade, it swings.
Right.
It's just, it has been a pendulum of momentum this evening. All right, so the Wrecking Rams will start it in the fourth quarter. Second down, 7, the ball at the 25-yard line. LaMartina passing the flat, caught. That's the guy who started at quarterback this evening. Colin DeBetta making the catch. He is brought down at the 30-yard line, and it's going to be 3rd down and 2 coming up.
DeBetta doesn't come off the field. He plays in the secondary. He plays wide receiver. They'll have him at quarterback, right? So that kind of goes to show what type of athlete that young man is. I'm sure he's a 2 or 3 sport player for Acadiana at other sports.
3rd down and 2. The run is stuffed. They tried to run the dive, and Chad Jones Jr. was having nothing of it, along with a couple of other purple shirts in there. Let's see. I think they'll call it a gain of 1, so it's going to be 4th down and 1.
Wow. Chad Jones Jr. got a piece of that. He defeats the guard on the block with his shoulder, rips through the block, and makes the tackle. Nice job.
So maybe the biggest play of the game to this point. 4th and 1 at the 31-yard line.
Trying to draw them off sides, possibly.
Play clock at 7. They'll snap it. They got it easily.
Quarterback sneak.
Yeah, just keep it in the quarterback's hands. And LaMartina gains 3.
Well, LaMartina's a big dude, right? 6 foot, 200 on the field, looking at him before the game. That's one of the things we do, walk around and look at the players and that sort of thing. He looks a little bit taller than 6 foot.
So elsewhere in this Division I Select bracket, Edna Carr in control, leading Jesuit 39-7 fourth quarter. Evangel, last report we had, leading St. Paul's 20-14 at the half. Alexandria's taking control over Brother Martin 31-13 in the fourth. Pass is intended for DeBetta, but it is broken up by Tyrone Matthew. that name,
Matthews. Yeah. I had a great opportunity to coach against
Tyron.
And
that was probably
right.
No fun dealing with the Honey Badger.
No, it wasn't. We went to the other side of the field. But we beat him. We got him that particular day his senior year.
2nd and 10. Run the dive and room to run, and no one's there. This could go the distance. 66 yards for Troy Kennerson, and Acadiana is a point after away from tying this game.
Did I say something about Novocaine? Right? Just keep pounding it, just keep pounding it, just keep pounding it. Outside veer crease right there. Nicely done. Great read by the quarterback, LaMartina, to give it on the outside veer. Look at the speed of Kennerson as he just bolts away from everything in purple. Oh, my goodness. Another major heavyweight punch.
So a huge point after coming to tie the game from Josh Marquez. We got whistles and offside apparently against St. Aug. Let's see. Yeah, it is against the Purple Knights. We're going to keep the kicking team on.
Both teams have had trouble in the past, 3 or 4 minutes kicking PATs. I don't know if I wouldn't just go for 2 here. Right? I mean, Acadiana had 1 blocked. St. Aug's had a couple blocked.
And kick is good. So your new score, we're starting anew. 10:05 to play here at Tad Gormley. It is Acadiana 42. It is St. Augustine 42.
Wow.
This has just been...
Again, you commit to the run, you stay with the run, you bring, you go with who you brought to the dance, right? And Acadiana wants to run the football. They want to establish the run. One of the parts of their offense has always been inside-outside veer. They run the outside veer right there. They stay with it. They get the crease, and he pops for Kennerson. And, the rest is history, right? So there we go. And now we're in a 0-0 ball game again, but it's 42 on the clock or on the scoreboard.
Right. Catholic, by the way, leading Captain Shreve 34-6 in the 4th quarter.
Wow.
Up in Senla, Rummel. Remember, the winner of this game is going to play either Rummel or Tioga. St. Aug would be the home team. Acadiana would be the road team regardless. Rummel leading Tioga 45-21. So Rummel holds on. Acadiana can complete this comeback as we get the kickoff. To one hop, taking it at the 21-yard line, trying to get to this side. 30, 35, 40, and down at the 44-yard line is Derek Bennett, who, of course, hit the kickoff return for a touchdown earlier that flipped the momentum.
Again, great position on a kickoff. St. Aug will start again in great field position. We have seen all types of things happening on kickoffs tonight, from onsides to kickoff returns to, missed tackles and all types of stuff tonight on kickoff coverages.
Just in the kickoff game, we've seen 3 huge plays: the recovered onside kick and 2 returns for touchdowns.
Exactly.
So to finish the thought, Rummel leading Tioga 45-21 in the 4th quarter. If the Raiders hang on and Acadiana completes this comeback, Rummel is at home next week as an 11 seed against Acadiana. Quarterback run on 1st down, and that was not Coulon that time. That is Jael Noble in at quarterback. That was just, he was in for 1 snap. That was just a little read option. They faked the give and well defended that time by Acadiana for a gain of 1.
Yeah, Jael Noble is also a running back. He's the backup quarterback. So, that was a planned run for that big young man to run the football.
He may be the guy next year at 6'3", 170 pounds, just a sophomore. Of course, Coulon is a senior. On 2nd and 9, Lewis is wrapped up after a gain of about 3, and it's going to be a gigantic 3rd down coming up for St. Aug.
Yeah, Joel Dorian makes a hit in the backfield, and Lewis just gets out of his grip to be able to pick up a few yards, but he slowed him down, talking about Dorian in the backfield from his defensive line position.
3rd and 6 for the Purple Knights. The line to make timeout St. Aug is, again, this is an enormous play in this football game, and you want to make sure you've got the right call.
Yeah, no doubt, right? You don't want to give the ball up at midfield right here on some sort of mistake because you didn't have the right personnel, you didn't line up in the right formation, a miscommunication in the call from the boundary, whatever you want to do, absolutely. No doubt about it. Use your timeout. Make sure your communication, personnel, and your alignments are all set up properly.
Chance to remind you during this timeout, tonight's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner. Lamarck Lincoln is the only Lincoln Black Label dealership in the market. It's more than ownership, it's membership. Must be a reason.
Man, that lot out there is just chock full of vehicles, isn't it?
No doubt. That is a complex.
That is
a large complex. You got the Ford, you got the Lincoln,
yes.
You've got the pre-owned. And of course you got the collision center and quick lane. So much going on.
Keep your eye on
Automotive Complex.
Keep your eye on Zion Williams in the slot.
Coulon's going to take a shot. Got a man. Pass is caught inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. What a catch out there by Miguel Whitley. That is a gain of 43 yards.
Need to see that again. That ball could have touched the ground here off the play action pass. Let's see if we can see.
Oh, wow. What a catch.
Oh, man. I tell you what, that's close if he pulled that into his body.
So from the 9, run it straight ahead with Lewis to about the 4-yard line.
Tell you what, if that had been Saturday or Sunday, somebody had been looking at that again. That was really close.
2nd and goal for St. Aug, trying to regain the lead. Here as the clock ticks towards 8 minutes to play. Coulon gives it away and into the end zone, touchdown, Khalil Lewis. 4 yards on the touchdown run for Lewis, and St. Aug has retaken the lead with 7:54 to go.
He walks in untouched on the counter play right there. Everything's walled off, kicked out, sealed down. Huge hole for Khalil Lewis just to walk into that end zone. The all-important extra point here by St. Aug because they've had a couple of blocked recently on their last 2 scores, right? Hopefully they got their operation fixed here.
By the way, you see there next to the play clock is the kick is good, and I didn't see a flag come in there, but clearly the kicker hit the ground. And if they didn't touch the football, you would think that would now see if we get an indication here. They're going to go over and I guess they're going to talk about this. Is it going to be assessed on the kickoff?
It is.
Yeah, it's personal foul, roughing the kicker. So the kick is good, and with 7:54 to play, after a 5-play, 56-yard drive, St. Aug has retaken the lead 49-42. You might have noticed when we were down there showing the shot in the end zone that there's a young man in a wheelchair down there. We talked about him earlier. It's Raekwon Williams.
That's correct.
Who's just had successful knee surgery on that right ACL and will be back with this team next year. Just a junior, the number 16 prospect in Louisiana for 2027. Got a ton of offers, including LSU. Whitley is the number 9 prospect in Louisiana for 2027 who just made that great catch to put St. Aug in the red zone. He's got, listen to his Power 4 offers. This is only a partial list, Wade. LSU, Ohio State, Florida State, Miami, Texas, Texas A&M, and there's a lot more besides that.
Yeah, well, he's pretty darn good, right? So and that knee's going to heal, and it's going to be stronger than it ever was. He'll do great rehab, and he'll be back playing for the Purple Knights next year. And then he'll have a great college career on after his days in high school. So, yeah, it's just a shame that he doesn't get to experience this playoff game as well as the playoffs with his teammates this year. So do you just kick it in the end zone? Do you onside kick this thing?
That's a great question here. Now, there's five guys up. They'll squib it to the 20. 25, brought down at about the 27-yard line. I don't think that was such a bad idea there. Put it on the ground, make them have to field the ground ball. We've seen them bobble a couple tonight.
Well, sky kick's not in their repertoire, right? I would have sky kicked it. I would have liked to sky kick it. But if you can't do that, the second best thing to do is to do exactly what they just did. Just dribble it down there. But, hey, make sure you cover the thing, right? And they did. And same effect. I always had some guys that could sky kick, right?
All right, so from the 27-yard line, try to run that dive on first down, and it is blown up quickly by this Purple Knight defense. Simon on the carry might have gotten a yard.
Yeah, Simon running that outside veer path again, and it just gets blown up by the guys in purple. Right there.
You saw the pushback.
Yeah.
He ran into his own offensive lineman who had gotten pushed into the backfield. You talked earlier, that's never the wrong decision to hand it off on that. Explain what you mean there.
Well, because when you detach that football, I'll let you make the call here first, and I'll explain.
They'll give it away. I think the ball came out on that one. Purple Knights say they may have it. Let's see. Both sides pointing that they have it. They'll have to unpile. And I believe it is Acadiana football as they're winding the clock. Let's see. No. Well, St. Aug came away from it. Clint Hill had the football, but I believe they're saying it's still Acadiana's ball.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on at the bottom of that pile.
Sure.
Right? I mean, everybody's clawing and biting. Well, when you give the ball, right, less things can happen bad with a pitch or the quarterback making a wrong decision after the first decision, right? Because remember, it's triple option. You read one, option the next guy, whether to pitch it or the option to keep it with the quarterback. When you start putting options in, the farther you bring the option out, more things can go wrong.
Pass situation on 3rd and 10, and he is sacked, but we got a flag that came in.
I think he got a face
Chad
mask.
Jones Jr. got there.
Chad Jones Jr. along with Darren Coates. I think they got a face mask.
We'll wait for the call. Now, remember this now. There are no, other than, what is it, unsportsmanlike conduct, there are no automatic first downs. It's a personal foul face mask. But it's going to be a first down because it's going back to the original spot. It's not at.
Yeah, Darren
Coates just.
Oh, and he knew it. Look at him. He knew it. He knew it. Yeah, he knew it. But yeah, it's going to be 15 yards. But you're right. In Federation rules, there's very few automatic first downs, right? And if the yardage gets the first down, then it becomes a first down, and it's 15 yards from the previous spot, and that's how Acadiana gets this first down. A lot of people confuse that with personal fouls on Saturdays.
Right. And Sundays. Where
correct.
basically, I've never been a fan of the fact that basically everything against the defense is an automatic first down.
It's too punitive.
Yeah. On 1st and 10, they try to run the right side with Simon and get a couple. And Peyton Thomas up from his cornerback spot to help make the stop there.
Yeah, Peyton Thomas comes up and set the edge. That's the first time I've said it tonight because it's so important, right? You got to set the edge. When you set the edge the way Peyton Thomas did right there, your running game that bounces outside has no place to go because you got that boundary on your outside shoulder, becomes the 12th man. Nice job, Peyton Thomas.
Clock is ticked under 6 minutes to play here. Acadiana's got to have a touchdown on this possession. 2nd and 8, pass incomplete in the direction of DeBetta.
You don't see that too often. That hit the bed in the hands. He doesn't drop many footballs. He knows it. He's making that motion to his quarterback right there. You can see it hits him right in the hands. He knows that.
Might have been a little bit offline, but the receiver's always going to tell you I should have had it.
Yeah, and no doubt. And he's that good. He's that good of an athlete, right? He knows he should have caught that football. Big third down for the Wrecking Rams right here. Where's number 0?
He's in the game.
You got to know where he is.
Lined up to the bottom of your screen.
There you go. If you're St. Aug, I would have 3 guys on this guy.
And brought down and sacked. Terrific pressure by Darren Coates. And a loss of 9, and Acadiana is going to have to punt the football away.
Man, what a night this guy has had, huh? Look at the rush right here, coming off the right edge of the Purple Knights. They chip him. He shoves the back out of the way. He beats the tackle, and he gets another sack for his statistics. Wow, what a night.
Coates came in with 8.5 sacks, gets another one right there. So the clock will tick under 5 minutes. On 4th and 17, you've certainly got to punt it away. And they'll do just that. And this will be downed at the 35-yard line. And the Purple Knights will take over there after a 30-yard punt.
Kamani Price, number 37 for the Purple Knights, almost made a major mistake. You got to get out of the way from that ball. I'm sure they're down there making the Peter call, right? Peter means get the heck out of the way, right?
There you go.
There we go. I had to pause for a minute. Kamani Price was just standing there, and you could hear the St. Aug coaches up here in the booth screaming, get away from it. Almost a vital mistake by number 37, Kamani Price. I'm sure he got reamed when he got to the boundary.
Yeah. So 4:43 to play. Acadiana has all 3 timeouts remaining. St. Aug has 2, as you see. At what point do you start using your timeouts? As the first down run up the gut by Khalil Lewis gets 2.
To answer your question, if you get to a third down on this particular series right now, you use one on third down. That's what I would do. You're under 5 minutes. You've got the full selection of timeouts, all 3 of them. Use one if you can get it to third down. Second and long, they're in a favorable situation to hopefully stop that clock. Talking about Acadiana.
Ticking towards 4 minutes to play. 8 on the play clock. Snapped it at 5. Sweep to the near side, and Lewis will get a couple, or check that. He's going to lose about a yard.
I would have used timeout right now. He did not get out of bounds. If he would have gotten out of bounds, that would have helped you. Timeout should have been used right there.
Right. So 3rd and 9 at the 36-yard line. We'll tick under 3.5 minutes before this ball is snapped. The play clock is at 12.
They're going to take it all the way down to under 5.
Robert Valdez might even take a timeout here before. Yes, he will. Play clock had gotten to 1, took it all the way down, and now he's going to call a timeout and talk about this critical play.
You see, if you would have taken a timeout right there, that would have stopped that clock. You would have saved right at about almost 40 seconds, right? And then if you hold them on third down, you'd use another timeout, correct?
You use 2.
And you go ahead and use your 2 right there. You get the ball back on the punt, and then you put all your money in your last drive to tie this thing up, and you find number 0.
And look, here's the thing. If the ball is in bounds and they're going to obviously use the play clock, it doesn't matter when it happens. And basically you're saving yourself almost 40 seconds at that point.
Correct. Absolutely.
So 3rd down and 9, okay? We saw the long pass earlier on 3rd down that set up the go-ahead touchdown. Do you risk putting the ball in the air right here if you're Robert Valdez with Fashawn Coulon, or do you keep it on the ground and maybe make Acadiana use that timeout?
I make them use a timeout. I run the football, make them use a timeout, and then punt that football and play defense.
Well, it's an empty backfield, so either Coulon is running a quarterback draw or this thing's going in the air. Coulon looks, pass is caught 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, and down to the 18-yard line goes Christopher Dupuis, the tight end.
Yeah, what do I know, right? There you go, man. What a pass by Coulon on the numbers to Christopher Dupuis, who's lined up as the third guy off the formation to the wide side of the field, and he hits the seam. The ball's on target, and that could be a huge spike into the heart of the Wrecking Rams.
We're under 3 minutes. The play clock is down to 10. And right now, you really got to let that play clock wind down. Snapped it on 2. Up the middle and in for the touchdown goes Khalil Lewis. And it is a 2-score game with 2:40 to play.
Wow.
Lewis with his second touchdown of the fourth quarter.
Goes in untouched right up the middle. Great blocking by that offensive line. They get movement on everything in a white jersey, and he just splits the seam into the third level and walks into the end zone to make this a 2-score game with 2:40 on the clock. Wow.
Well, if we've learned anything tonight, this game isn't over.
No,
So,
you're right. No doubt about it. Yep,
point
and it's
after
blocked again.
is blocked.
Again by Isaiah Lavallee. Coming off the right edge. If St. Aug can get out of here tonight with a win, they're going to have to fix their field goal and their PAT protection. Bad job by the right wing. Not a very good job at all right there by the St. Aug right wing. And then, like I said, the timing of the mechanism of the whole mechanics of their kicking game on extra points and field goals is off. That's something that, you got to fix if you get out of here tonight and move on to the quarterfinals.
Let's quickly update Division I Select for you. As it appears at this point as if Rummel may be the lone road. Rummel has gone final, 45-21 over Tioga. Rummel may be the lone road team to win. Carr over Jesuit, 39-7. That's in the fourth quarter. Evangelist stretched out now 34-14 over St. Paul's, fourth quarter. Alexandria leads Brother Martin 38-27 in the fourth. Catholic over Captain Shreve, 37-14. That has gone final. John Curtis has defeated St. Thomas More 49-7, and Turling's leading Bonneville 48-22, fourth quarter. So
first thing I don't do here is kick it to Guyon.
Right. They'll squib it on the ground to about the 29-yard line, and the return will come out past the 35 to the 36-yard line. Yeah, you're right. Don't let zero touch the football at all costs, right?
And then I might, if I was Acadiana, I would have gotten that ball, turned around and found him and tossed it to him, right? What a night that young man has had. Travis Guyon. Okay, St. Aug's got to know where number 0 is, right? They've got to know where he is, and then you got to know where DeBetta is, right? And talking about Colin DeBetta, number 6, if La Martina is at quarterback, but you cannot at this stage of the game have an explosive quick strike by the Wrecking Rams.
We talked about the upsets, perhaps, as Gallium will line up in the slot here. This could be a double pass. That's a lateral. Got a man, and it is intercepted as he threw it behind him. Had a man open, but the pass was behind the intended receiver. And a late flag's going to come in after the interception by Clint Hill.
The intended receiver.
You see the double pass here. That's
It's
the
the
lateral
double pass,
to the other
right.
quarterback, DeBetta. And you see the man is open.
That's Simone.
Yep. Leaked him out of the backfield and tried to get him downfield. And there were defenders there, but he had a seam there.
Yeah, he had a seam. He was open for a second. Ball was underthrown by DeBetta. You're going to have a personal foul against Acadiana. Something happened over there on the boundary.
I think it was a late hit out of bounds.
Yeah, DeBetta just didn't get enough air under the ball. Underthrown, picked by Hill.
So
That's pretty
Let's
much.
Move it up a little bit, and we'll put the football down at it's like the 18-yard line.
Yeah, that's pretty much the dagger in the back right here. St. Aug gets the opportunity here to run the ball, make Acadiana use those timeouts.
With 2:24 to play. Again, Acadiana still has all 3 timeouts remaining. Division I non-select. Final score, Ouachita Parish defeats Destrehan 21-19, a 14 over a 3. Final score, Barb over West Monroe, 42-35. That is a 26 seed moving on to the quarterfinals.
Right.
Fourth quarter, Hahnville and Parkway tied at 31. So the bottom of that Division I non-select bracket has a chance to be really upside down here by the time Friday night is done, as we got a late flag after the first down run.
Yeah, it's playoff time, so you're going to see things go topsy-turvy,
sure.
Right? I mean, that's what it's all about, and you know, it's who's playing well that night, who might be the healthiest, who stays away from
dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct against Acadiana.
Right.
So this is going to, I believe, be a first down because they had a gain of a couple on the play.
Right, and who stays away from mistakes and turnovers. You know, that's the way the playoffs are, right?
That's it.
I think those seeds sometimes go out the window. They're just out the window. They're great. They're great if you're going to put money on it. But
no, it doesn't.
That's why you play the game.
That's it.
You know, this Acadiana team tonight traded punches back and forth, right? And St. Aug has withstood all those punches and delivered some of their own. I mean, this has been a great, entertaining football game by two, seasoned football teams.
Right, another upset this evening, by the way, Division II non-select. And maybe it's not an upset like you talked about. Cecilia goes on the road and beats Lakeshore 54-42.
Whoa. Oh, my goodness.
Give it away to Davis to about the 5-yard line.
You can kneel this thing out now.
Well, that was first and goal, yeah. But again, they haven't used the timeout, so I don't know. Maybe
they're not going to use them. You can kneel this.
If they're not going to, yeah.
It's over. But like I said, two teams trading heavyweight punches here tonight, right? Both of these teams, have
okay. Oh, so now they're saying it's a first down. It was second, right. And it was second in inches previously.
Correct.
Okay.
Both of these teams are just two really good football programs.
Inside a minute, snapped it right at 0. They will give it away to Davis, who is down at about the 2-yard line, and maybe one more play in this game. So it will be an all-Catholic League quarterfinal next week. I don't know where this game is being played yet. Maybe we'll find out afterwards tonight, because after this week, Tad Gormley's not available, as Coulon will pull it back, keep it into the end zone for a touchdown.
Back on October 18th, Week 7, the Purple Knights beat the Rummel Raiders 26-3 on a pretty dominant performance that evening, right? I mean, so we're going to see that in the quarterfinals. That's going to be an interesting football game.
We had a late flag behind the play. I don't know what that was about. Let's see what the call is. And if it's against St. Aug, that'll take the touchdown off the board, I believe. Let's see. Waiting on a call. We'll wind the clock.
That's going to wind it all the way down.
So as we go final, They took that touchdown off the board, the penalty against St. Aug. And your final score this evening, St. Augustine 55 and Acadiana 42. The Purple Knights will get the practice on Thanksgiving Day. Wade, your thoughts on what we saw in just the ebb, flow, back, forth all night long of what turned out to be a tremendous football game.
Like I said, heavyweight fight, punches traded back and forth, some great performances. Travis Gallion, number 0 from Acadiana. What a night that young man had for St. Aug. I mean, Vashon Coulon, again, still smooth as almond milk, as his coach says, right? Can run the football, can throw the football. Some great performances. Miguel Wheatley, even though he had that fumble, had some huge catches on the night. And Zion Williams comes out of nowhere to have a great first half, put some scores on the board for the Purple Knights. What a night by him. And then defensively, right? Defensively, what a night by Darren Coates, the junior. He not only plays defense, gets sacks, but he lines up and kicks PATs. We had some great performances all over the field tonight by some great athletes from both teams. Acadiana has nothing to hang their head over. Great representation from the Lafayette District. Great football program. Doug Dotson does a great job, he and his staff. What a great football. I think everybody tonight got their dollars worth.
No, I don't think there's any question about it. If you were here tonight or you were watching, you definitely got what you wanted to see this evening. Wade, it's been a pleasure. We will do it again next week. 64 teams are going to be practicing on Thanksgiving Day and be facing off next Friday night. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll have more coverage of high school football for you next Friday night, a quarterfinal matchup. Visit CrescentCitySports.com and our social media channels for more info. By the way, next Friday night, it will be not only live on Crescent City Sports, but also live at 7 p.m. on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. So for Wade Kaiser and our entire Crescent City Sports production team, led by Matt Marin and Sam Tornatore, I'm Lenny Van Gilder saying goodnight from Tad Gormley Stadium. Once again, your final score, St. Augustine, a number 3 seed in Division I Select, moves on. They defeat Acadiana 55-42. Good night, everybody.